I'm
But
Batman.
the weird thing is that maybe I was so involved in Dark Knight, I actually didn't mind the voice even. I thought the voice
No, I
actually
didn't.
worked
I
pretty
didn't
well.
either. I didn't either.
Yeah. Strange. Even though it's been parodied so much.
I
Uh,
think the parody. I think the parody has just taken it to some unreasonably stupid degree because I genuinely think that the voice actually works.
in Dark Knight, it actually works pretty. Maybe it's just the film working so well. Who
No,
knows?
and it's also parody is also a function of the sort of cultural impact of the film, right?
Yes, of
Yeah, of
course.
course, of course.
So it's
Look, people are like, I grew up with Batman and Robin. I grew up with that movie. I remember that movie extremely well. I don't want to, but I can't do anything about it. But Batman Begins is the Batman I actually grew up with.
yeah.
More importantly, Dark Knight, because Dark Knight was the movie which gave me context on what character Batman can be. So, in that regard, you can understand, right? So, that voice is like a cultural stamp. Bale
Yeah.
doing that voice is a cultural stamp.
This is a great introduction to our episode today because Amartya is the one who has initiated, because I had planned for us to exclude the Batman films because I didn't think I wanted less editing to do, essentially. But no, we have included it now, and I feel odd not saying hello, hello, hello. So I'll say that also. Hello,
We are
hello,
cutting out
hello.
all the we are cutting out all the fat like Nolan did in Dark Knight. But chalo, chal
Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to today's podcast. This is part 2 of 4 of our Nolan retrospective of July. We hope you liked the first episode that we recorded, whatever, 3 weeks, 4 weeks from now, from whenever it's
Yes.
getting released, of course. And this is, again, Amartya special, I would say, just because he initiated or told me to do an episode on Batman, because and it's a very productive one also. I think there's a lot of things that we learn about Nolan, his filmmaking style, how it changes over the course of the years of all the Batman films. So this episode is entirely dedicated to Batman Begins, The Dark
The
Knight,
Dark Knight
and The
and
Dark Knight Rises, all directed by Christopher Nolan, written by Christopher Nolan, David S. Goyer, and Jonathan Nolan, all shot by Wally Pfister, all scored by Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard,
Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard did the first two. Hans Zimmer
and
solo
did
did the
the
third one.
yes, and all edited by Lee Smith, just to like get out
And
all
Bat
the
and Batman created by Bob Kane.
and
And Bill
Batman
Finger.
created
No,
by
no, 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 no. Bill Finger, Bob Kane and Bill Finger. Remember the second
Yes.
name. That is
so see
important.
We
this
watched
is
Flash, so
Yes.
वो अभी ताजा है.
Yes.
okay,
We are
but
not talking about the fact.
yes, so no, but
Absolutely not.
this is good in the sense that this is the DC universe before the DCEU, right?
Yeah.
This is supposed to be the sort of
Yes.
superhero.
The
Now we are
emergence
sort
of
of,
the
yeah,
emergence of the greatness of
Batman
DC.
Begins, I think, is termed as one of the
Yeah,
emerging
yeah.
things of this. But
Batman
Hmm.
Begins is the
yes,
emergence of a lot of things because that movie, in spite of whatever it is, that
yeah,
movie influenced a lot of movies going forward.
yeah,
So, yeah.
It essentially also triggered a new James Bond sort of
Yes,
situation.
Casino Royale is very much
Straight
inspired
up.
by this.
that released in 2006.
Six.
Six. Yeah,
Yeah,
end
yeah.
of six.
Okay, so I mean, would they
By
have been
that
influenced
movie
by it?
is
They would have
perfection.
known that it's in production before they
Yeah, yeah.
cast
Okay,
the new
That
okay,
movie is perfection, by the way. Just
because you
FYI.
know that, yeah,
Yeah,
Martin
perfection.
Campbell should stick to that.
Yup.
okay.
Yeah.
So our format is very much like the simple chronological how the film's released. We'll be discussing each film on its own first, I think, and then of course we'll end by talking about each of them, like all of them sort of together as a trilogy, if how they work for all of us. So Amartya, take over.
Before we
And
begin with Batman Begins,
yes,
we need to go back a bit.
yes,
Just
context.
just to give an idea on what Batman was before Batman Begins came out,
Yeah,
which, to be very honest, was in the dumps.
yeah,
Because, as I said, I grew up with Batman and Robin. I
yes.
remember that movie. If you can hear from my
You're not
voice,
a big fan of the Tim Burton Batmans, also, right?
Tim Burton Batman is still fine. Joel
Okay.
Schumacher Batman is like somebody fed me candy and told me to choke on.
Amazing.
It's just. Here's a good description. Batman and Robin is like the Adam West Batman for the modern age.
What does that mean? As
So
someone
what
who
does that
doesn't
mean? So what does that
hasn't.
mean is basically campy Batman just set in
Yep.
the modern age
Mhm.
and just focused on making toys. But they're
Got it.
completely missing the context of what Batman is.
So MCU now, basically, and Star Wars now.
I don't think MCU has reached that stage yet.
Okay. We're closing. Closing in.
It's closing
Okay.
very much. So now Warner Brothers owns Batman for a very long time.
Mhm.
Warner Brothers is the sole owner of DC Comics for a very long time. So Batman is a huge IP for them.
Yeah.
So plans for a Batman reboot had always been in the works. I think even Batman and Robin, after that there was
That
plans.
bombed also, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Batman Robin. Or did it make money because it was
I think it
people were
made money
interested?
because it was mainly geared
And
for
it was also it was more about stars than superhero
it was more about selling
property.
merchandise than anything
Okay.
else.
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
But they wanted to reboot Batman because the critical lambast was pretty noticeable.
Yeah.
So now after rebooting, but they also wanted to make sure that the reboot is so entirely different because people don't have any idea how much they actually hated Batman and Robin, to the extent that people did not want to see a Batman movie unless it is completely different. So they tried to choose not a studio director, they chose an indie director. They were following, since this is the early 2000s, they were also following a format which the comics had been following for a while.
Yeah.
Which is, okay, we need some shaking up to do, so let's bring in some indie writers to shake things up. This is a similar thing they did here, because if we go back to Nolan's filmography at this point, Nolan did Insomnia.
Yes.
That was his first studio feature.
Big studio, like Hollywood studio with
Hollywood studio feature.
Yeah, I think Steven Soderbergh we mentioned this.
Steven Soderbergh and George Clooney produced it.
Yeah.
Ironic, George Clooney produced it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I think Insomnia gave them the confidence, gave the studios confidence to approach him because of how he handled himself around big stars. He worked with Al Pacino, of all people. So I think it gave them some confidence. So Nolan was approached after a story treatment by David S. Goyer was submitted.
Yeah.
Now the thing about David S. Goyer is, I'm going to not mince my words here at all. David S. Goyer is a hack writer. Guy knows. I can say that because I have read the comics, I have seen the movies, I can say that. Equivocally, I can say that. I've also seen his interviews, I know exactly what the fuck he is capable of. So, man directed Blade Trinity, Dhruv. I don't have to say.
No, I have no idea. You're filling me in with knowledge. I have literally no idea. I'm just I wasn't expecting this conversation to deviate in this direction. But okay.
But the thing about David S. Goyer is, David S. Goyer, since he was one of the few people who had been handling comic book movies during that time, and studios are so monopoly level in their thinking, they were like, oh, we have a comic book writer, right? We will hire David S. Goyer. That's how we will do it.
Yeah. So he was a studio person almost.
So he was a
safe guy. Safe guy.
Yeah. So they hired him. And they hired him to write an origin story for Batman, but make it darker. Make it realistic, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Because, of course, the movie needs to be completely different from
the Batman and Robin.
The color. So you have to make it very realistic. And the second thing which needed to always also be addressed is bring a villain which hasn't been used before.
Okay.
Bring a villain from the comics which hasn't been used before and try to use him in the movie.
Yeah, I think who all was used before this? Joker,
then
Catwoman,
Two-Face, Catwoman,
Mr. Freeze,
Riddler, Penguin. All of these villains are extremely over the top versions, right?
Yep.
So their plan was that we will introduce a new villain and we will try to make sure that the over the top version is contextualized to make it seem more realistic. if you think about that and then you look at it from this perspective, Batman Begins is almost twistedly makes sense if you think about it from Nolan's filmography as well. Because
Mm-hmm.
Nolan's theme about time is interesting if you consider who the villain of Batman Begins is. Because okay, so now we can enter in. So now we can
Enter the
enter to
Batcave or
we can
whatever.
enter the Batcave more or less.
Yes.
Since we're entering now, the
Yeah.
fact that they chose the League of Shadows and Ra's al Ghul is very fascinating because Ra's
Mm-hmm.
al Ghul he was an environmentalist, environmental eco-terrorist. He was created by
Okay.
Dennis O'Neill and Neil Adams, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
So, environmental eco-terrorist who wanted to destroy the world because the world was apparently not according to his specifications.
Yeah. So kind
That's
of
what
Thanos-like, huh? A little
kind
bit.
of Thanos, kind
Avengers
of Thanos.
Endgame. I
Yeah,
mean, see, if anyone who is superhero crazy is listening to this, I am just drawing comparisons to understand it better. This is not saying one is better than the other or whatever, so please don't kill us.
But my perspective here is that Ra's al Ghul, when Batman meets him during the 70s, is almost 500 years old because
Yep.
Ra's al Ghul has access to healing powers, a regenerating lake called the Lazarus Pit.
Yeah.
The Lazarus Pit has healing powers, and it also can bring people back from the dead. But when they come back from the dead, they usually turn insane.
Okay.
That's the whole caveat of it.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I bringing this up? Is because it is fascinating. So what this basically is he's stopping aging almost. So he's stopping the progress of time.
Yeah.
So interestingly, the fact that Nolan takes that time analog and just selects the first villain who uses time in some context and not the clock king of all things. But okay. So he takes Ra's al Ghul and uses it. And he uses it well, by the way. It's interesting how he uses it. That is always fascinating to me. But yeah, so I'll open the floor to you guys. I think that's enough of context at least.
That's great context.
I'll supply in more and more as you go.
The whole thing about Ra's al Ghul also being like the whole time analog was quite interesting. I, of course, didn't know about that. But yes, go ahead, Varun first. Then we'll go to Prithwish and then I'll go.
So, obviously, like growing up, you watched Batman Begins in bits and pieces half a dozen times, on HBO. Because HBO, I think, has always been a Warner thing.
Yeah.
So, I think last year was the first time I actually watched it properly, start to finish. And I was quite impressed by it's a sort of conventional origin story, right? But it's also it follows the 3-act structure quite well. It does justice to that structure. There's a nice bit of humor to it. I also found like it's got a bunch of Blade Runner references.
Yes.
Like the rain and everything, you could say. But to me, the greatest reference is that they took the actual villain of Blade Runner, which is Rutger Hauer, and stuck him in a suit and put him in like Wayne Enterprises.
Yeah.
But
I think that's Nolan basically, flexing his muscles at this point. Like,
I can get Rutger Hauer. But I think what I actually enjoyed about the film is that it's not necessarily setting up a larger world, which is I think the mistake most films make today. They're like, oh, come back next time. I'm like, I don't really care. Here they give you the end, they give you like a bit of a teaser.
Just a teaser, but it's not like
it's really just a teaser. It's nothing more than that.
It's nothing.
They're not trying to sell you.
That teaser though, elicited one of the biggest roars from the
Yeah.
crowd when the movie actually came out.
No, and if Batman Begins hadn't worked commercially and critically, they
Yeah.
wouldn't have given Nolan a shot to
Oh
make
yeah,
the next one,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
So that's
Also,
the
it's not the most successful or anything.
No, it's not. It's
No,
not.
by a long shot, I think, for
Not by
Nolan
a long shot,
especially.
yeah.
So yeah.
But I also think that it's essentially a crime film. Like how Matt Reeves' is Batman is a detective drama
Yeah.
Yep.
for all practical purposes. Batman Begins is essentially a crime film because it's looking at crime in a very, it's not looking at crime as like a supervillain way. Sure, Crane has certain ambitions and Ra's al Ghul has certain ambitions.
Yeah.
But you look at Carmine Falcone and his interests.
Yeah, the
And it's
Tom
a very
Wilkinson
sort of
performance is interesting, I
something.
would
It's
say.
It's
something.
something. Yeah. I think it's very interesting casting. I
Yeah.
enjoyed
Yes,
it.
it's.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's interesting. I would say it's miscasted. But
Okay, so you have a variance here only
Yeah,
of
we
like,
have a variance here.
yeah,
But
yeah.
the thing is that Tom Wilkinson has got that pasty-faced American, sorry, British look to
British,
him.
yeah.
And you stick him into this. It's of course to me the immediate comparison is John Turturro in John
The
Turturro
The
Batman.
new
in the
Batman.
Batman, right?
Yeah.
But I like the fact that his show of power is so he's sitting back in a CD bar and he's like, do what you want.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just that the fact that power is never really about sitting in a mansion and being the coolest dude in the park. It's not the Thomas
It's
Wayne
about.
power as you see it in Joker, the
Yes.
Todd Phillips film, right? It's more of this kind of power that he's
What is that bar? I have legitimately that movie
I
is
mean the
gone away
confrontation
from my
between the
consciousness.
confrontation between Fleck and Thomas Wayne in the bathroom.
Huh.
I think Thomas Wayne throws a punch at him if I'm not
Ah,
wrong.
something like that. Yes. I
Yeah, but
remember.
it's very snooty power and look what I can do.
Okay.
Here it's very real that
but it's
threat
also
is
very
immediate.
much on their side, no? On the Wayne's side, this is so.
Yeah. But it's also here you don't really empathize with Bruce from the beginning.
Yeah,
You're
he's a bit of
not-
a brat in this, no?
He's a brat. And sure, you give him the pass that hey, orphan, but orphan in a mansion versus
Orphan.
John Blake, orphan in an orphanage.
Yeah.
That is the kind of comparison.
No, but I think that's also the perspective. I think most people, most writers of Batman as well as most people have maintained. This movie is also surprisingly faithful to some of the origins because it's fascinatingly faithful, but it's also very different. Especially if you look at it from the context of the Batman, Matt Reeves' Batman. Matt Reeves' Batman is almost like showing off how faithful it is. It's gothic. That mansion is like, oh my god, it looks like a Louvre museum. Yeah, it looks like a Louvre museum or some shit. This one looks like, it's a 1%er's manor.
Well, I have thoughts on that aesthetic, but Prithvish, you go ahead first. But,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
rewatched it now, right?
Yes.
Today
So,
only, I think you rewatched it.
So the only thing that can I can get it after rewatching the films we did for first episode.
Yeah.
Is that Nolan was still in his indie era, that fast cutting, sloppy editing era during Batman Begins as well. But it does a good pathway of faithful comic book adaptations. मतलब वो बैटमैन का पहले जो भी एडेप्टेशंस आया था, be it Adam West और वैल किल्मर और जॉर्ज क्लूनी, जो भी हो, और माइकल कीटन.
Yes, don't forget Keaton. Yes, he is
of course,
important now.
That's why, and Keaton.
Yes,
So,
for some fucking reason.
Yeah, so it was still a huge upgrade from what Tim Burton did. Because because till Tim Burton, the Batman adaptations were very campy. Very
cartoony,
campy, very cartoonish.
Okay.
Very cartoonish.
Yeah.
Like, even though Batman was supposed to be a very gritty character, very gritty superhero, the entire ambience is supposed to be very nihilistic kind of ambience, or the city of Gotham
but we also,
itself.
I'm sorry to interrupt. But we also need to understand something. That campy tone persisted for over 30 years in the larger media, by the way.
Thanks to Adam West.
Thanks to Adam West. Adam West's portrayal, if you have seen the cartoon, if you have seen that show, first of all, that show is fucking weird. Second of all, that show is funny. It's Very funny.
I enjoyed it when
Even the
I was
Lego. So
in
I come in as a basically I have no knowledge of Batman outside of films and games.
Same.
I've played the Arkham games a little bit, and I've seen the film. Like I've seen the
Arkham games is quite faithful.
yeah, but I mean I
Very
enjoy
faithful.
them a lot. But like I've seen the Nolan films and I've seen. I was about to ask the funny because you guys mentioned funny. I actually remember really enjoying Lego Batman movie, even though I didn't get references, whatever was being talked about all the time. So I don't know how that
Lego
plays
Batman
in.
is meta. Lego Batman is meta funny.
Okay.
Batman 66 is not meta funny. Batman 66 is slapstick funny.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Doesn't Adam West wear like a grey Batman suit?
Yes.
Yeah, grey and blue.
The hilarity of the Batman 66 version is everybody is a doofer. Okay, everybody is a doofer except Adam West Batman. Adam West Batman is playing it completely straight.
He's the cleverest guy in the room.
Yeah, he's acting
everybody
like he's
is
doing
an asshole,
Shakespeare.
including Robin.
Yeah, he's
including
acting like
Robin.
he's doing Shakespeare.
Okay,
so that's the joke.
So like Adam West is like Daya and or Pradyuman, and everybody is like Salunke, Dr. Salunke.
Exactly.
That is the final word we will have on CID.
So yeah, that's what I was saying. Like it's a huge upgrade from what even Tim Burton did back in the 90s. From there, Nolan gave a completely different image to what Batman adaptations could have been, and I think it's the most faithful adaptation till that. Like even if you consider 2005 that year when Batman Begins released, अगर उस साल का भी अगर देखे तो उस साल के perspective में भी it's a very grounded adaptation, and I think it justifies the character as well. और उसके साथ साथ I think Batman Begins didn't need it to be a great film.
It needed to be better than Batman and Robin. That's all it needed to be.
Well,
of course, that's what
it needed to make money.
And it needed to make money. No, you don't understand. If it became better than Batman and Robin, it would have made money anyway.
Yeah.
No, but I just checked this actually. Batman and Robin was a financial disappointment. It was made on like 130 odd million and made like 260.
Yeah.
It didn't really do
much. But 260 must have been over the course of whatever years or something, right? So
but Hollywood follows the rule of threes, right? You triple the budget and that's your profit.
Yeah.
You have to count the marketing also, right? Otherwise,
exactly. Unlike here.
Unlike.
We are not no. We decided not to go there. Please don't.
So I mean, Batman Begins didn't need it to be a great film. Yeah. But it just needed to be the proper prologue to what followed up with Dark Knight.
The film we don't deserve, but what's the whole thing? I've messed this up. I really wanted to say this. The dialogue in Dark Knight, the film we need but don't deserve.
The hero we deserve, but
the film we deserve but didn't really want.
But we didn't really know. Yeah.
Okay, got
it.
And also I was drawing parallels. I was thinking of it when this opening scene from Batman Begins and Dawn of Justice, like when Bruce falls, Bruce falls into a pit of full of bats, and how he combats with it. So Zack Snyder, like he did it like in a very what do you call it? In a very fantasized way, very operatic. He's levitating with all
stylized, no stylization.
Very
you
much.
couldn't see anything in that movie, dude.
Yeah, and I also love the origin of Bruce Wayne here, like how they showed him like understanding the criminal mind. He went to Tokyo, Japan, or something like that, and he gave a completely different outlook.
Tibet. Here's the thing. It's like the origin of Batman as shown in this movie is also a bit hilarious because he's standing in the cave and all the bats are surrounding him like some sort of a shroud, and he's just opening his arms up and everything, and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, the bats will bite you. I'm sorry. It's just I get the
logic.
Idea. The bats.
We haven't reached rises yet.
I have to do logic. The world is still realistic, right? That's what you're portraying. So I have to do logic.
So, I'll say. No, go ahead.
If I'm getting to the context of what this movie is actually based on, the origin at least, that is Batman Year One by Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli.
Yeah.
The actual origin was, what happened is that he has come back to his town from around the world, going about and studying and everything around the world. He's sitting back. He's wondering what should he do? How should he combat crime? I need to become a symbol. I need to do something. What should I do?
Yeah.
He's sitting in his armchair in his inter patio. Okay. All huge glass panes and everything.
Yeah.
A glass, because it is Frank Miller. So, of course, a bat flies in, breaks through the window.
I wish we had video, but okay.
Glass breaks and everything, and the bat flies in.
Yeah.
Sits on top of a bust of Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
He looks at the bat and he says, "Yes, father, I shall become a bat."
Really? Okay.
Yes, that is the line.
Why does it sound like a Hindi film made in English?
Listen. See, my problem, I have not related, but I have similar-ish problems with parts of Batman Begins. Yes. I understand what you're saying about the context and everything. And I think I appreciate parts of it because of the context itself only. But I thought it was like a mashup of a lot of things. Like it just felt a bit of a jumble in a sense, which I just never could get into. Firstly, I kind of like the setup a fair bit. The stuff in Tibet is pretty well.
That is also new, by the way. I don't think it was ever shown in the movies what he actually did during those times. Okay. This was the first.
So this is also grounding him in some sort of struggle. Yes. I feel you have to I think the sympathy will not arise for billionaire Bruce Wayne, right? It's probably going to come out for someone who's had to like rough it out a little bit. Yeah.
So Bruce Wayne battling his internal conflicts because
the trauma thing is
like trauma. Essentially, like when his parents got killed. Even before that and after that, there was like 2 consecutive scenes. Like everybody is trying to take the blame away from Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like when he got reminded of the bats during the opera, that said like it's me who we needed a break from the opera. And then again when they got killed, Ra's al Ghul was saying, and Ra's al Ghul, he was saying like it's your
his father's fault.
Yeah. So and then Bruce Wayne say that my anger outweighs my guilt.
Yeah.
So I think that dialogue singularly encapsulates what Bruce Wayne was going through, or what how he was portrayed in Batman Begins, how his internal conflicts were going on.
Yeah, I mean, his performance is a little bit, again, what we said, I at least thought it has that sort of bratty thing to it at the beginning, and then he fluctuates between being someone who's more responsible, I feel, at times.
And you sort of see that dichotomy play out, especially in his thing with Rachel. When he's back with Rachel, he's Bruce.
Yeah.
But when he's, even with Alfred, he becomes sort of like almost Bruce on the verge of becoming Batman any moment.
Yeah.
Right. And as far as the brat goes,
those are the moments with Rachel, which is also fascinating, because those are also the moments when he's with Rachel, is Batman's cigarette recipe voice also breaks.
Yeah.
They always break
whenever
he's talking with Rachel, even in The Dark Knight, when he saves her by jumping down and just smashing on the car, which by the way he wouldn't have survived, but anyway. So he does that, and when she asks whether, quote unquote, this character is okay, his voice is the normal voice.
Yeah.
Because
interesting.
His relationship with Rachel goes deeper than that. Yeah. Rachel Dawes again an original character for the movie.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Considering it's barely a character, but okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm telling you.
Yeah. So no, but see, my thing is, so there, I think there's not a single relationship the film establishes that I bought, at least. This is my second rewatch or whatever it is. But like, I thought the flashbacks, there's something off in this film about the editing. Like I don't just mean in terms of action editing. I mean in terms of simply going from like like a normal movie, like a chronological.
What I figured out is until Bruce comes to Gotham after his entire skirmish with the League of Shadows and everything.
Yeah.
Until Bruce comes to Gotham, the entire movie's editing is like Nolan doing his indie stuff. There is time jump, there is time flashback, forward, and everything. There's all that choppy editing and everything.
Yeah.
Once he gets back into Gotham City and once the plot gets underway, it's almost like a typical superhero movie. And Nolan being completely beholden to the plot mechanics of it.
I suppose so. Because when we get
it's
back
a very disconnect. It's a huge disconnect if you think about it. Because it's very stark, the entire
so that's what I'm saying. Like, I preferred the first part, but even in that first part, I kind of did have issues. So like, it's very weird. Like I think the more I think about it, and the more, because I've also seen Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises now, rewatched it for the episode. I'm a bit baffled by the film's successes only. There's so my comparison point, and I know this is very like the unpopular opinion. I thought that whatever Nolan was doing here, I kind of bought more in Ang Lee's Hulk, which I watched a while, like recently. I know it's not a popular opinion. I know the film a lot of people don't like it. But there's a lot of stuff in this. I laughed out loud with the Scarecrow stuff in this. I was like, is this a joke?
Scarecrow was kind of like, he was kind of a...
But Scarecrow is supposed to be a bit of him, right?
No, but the tone was so weird because there's times when the film is like really like going for the scary, like it's like being super
it's like Cillian Murphy, like Dr. Crane, knew like he's going to get beaten up by Batman.
Yeah.
Yet he was more like a downgraded version of Riddler in Matt Reeves' Batman.
No, but they have like all those effects working also, right? Like there's times when he inhales the toxin, and then there's these forced perspectives, like you kind of have like extreme close-ups of Batman and him. It's like a comic book panel basically, which is what reminded me a little bit of Ang Lee.
Yes.
I mean, he does it literally, but in this sense, again, my I think problem was, firstly, I thought the section in which they're talking about like I thought the young performances were garbage, like really bad. I thought the young
I don't think they were garbage. I just think they weren't memorable at all.
They were kids.
Okay.
They were just kids.
No, like even the parents were garbage in the roles.
Hey, don't say anything about Linus Roach, okay? He's a good actor.
Linus Roach not good in this.
Like when he died, it was like, don't be afraid, and then he died.
Like it's one of
really
those. It's the Marion Cotillard moment. It's like,
but it's also the directorial decision.
Oh come on, it's not that bad.
If you're connecting to Marion Cotillard, then it is clearly a directorial problem.
Yes.
No. But see, my thing is that it feels very much like a mishmash, and I never sort of got into it ever. And the thing I noticed most, which is why is the sound.
The mishmash I think is also because that's what I'm talking about, right? That's what I think Varun also agrees with me. Studio notes.
Yeah.
You have to hit some of the beats.
I know. No, I understand that.
And I think even Nolan, because you are an indie director, why would you select Batman of all things? Because remember, superhero movies weren't a huge draw they were now, right?
Yeah.
So selecting Batman
was the dawn of whatever superhero time.
Yeah. So why would you choose a genre of movie like this unless you are a fan?
Yeah.
No, and especially on the back of something like Sam Raimi's work.
Yes.
With Maguire in the Spider-Man.
Yeah, like I thought Spider-Man.
Also imagine this. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man is so, I don't know how cheesy it is, right? It's Americana.
But it commits to it, no?
It commits to it, but it's Americana, right? If you compare that to and Spider-Man 2 also, Spider-Man 2 especially. But if
Spider-Man 2 is like the Dark Knight Spider-Man 2 is better. Like the whole sequel thing is better. But I think the first Spider-Man is much more successful at capturing the origin, I think, of a thing rather than that's my perspective than Dark Knight. Batman.
If you talk about origin, Spider-Man 1 is way better than Batman Begins.
At least that's what I felt. But again,
I think it's also about how you view, like, in my opinion, Batman Begins is purely a crime film.
I don't think it works as one.
I don't think it is a crime film though. That's my problem with it. I think Dark Knight is a crime film. Dark.
To me, Dark Knight's a drama.
Yes, but
crime
it's
drama.
also it's
Pretty
also
much.
crime. It's a crime film. It hits all my boxes because it is also a neo noir.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Batman Begins, I don't think is kind of sort of crime film. Batman Begins is basically like an introductory origin story as well as a superhero thing. The problem with Batman
थोड़ा
Begins is
noirish elements है ना, I think also.
थोड़ा है.
बहुत कम.
Yeah.
But it's
नहीं, but
also
those city squalor and I mean it is essentially about clearing the crime
it is
syndicate,
also
right?
it is also a wall building exercise if you think about it, because it's like, you know, they are introducing a monorail which goes from the center of the city to everything.
That's
There
the
are
Blade
bridges.
Runner thingy.
There are bridges and everything, and I'm like, that is so much of a wall building exercise, I can't even.
Yeah.
It's like, okay then.
And
but
it's also,
yeah,
it serves a plot function, but it doesn't do anything else.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything
I mean,
else.
there Nolan की picture में ये बहुत है, by the way. It's not a
plot point is written into the
Yes.
function is written into the script.
exactly, yes.
Yes.
End
And
में
also-
ये करेगा.
नहीं, but I actually, so the other thing that sorry to be the spoil sport, I guess, in the Batman Begins.
I'm listening to you. I don't think your spoil sporting is going to affect my liking for the movie.
I'm sure. Like, but I felt that the one of the issues that maybe this I didn't notice before is there's some, and I think this is what Nolan had said also about the film. This is his most set-ridden or set-driven film. Like, the least amount of locations have been used in this.
Yes.
And it kind of shows in a lot of places.
It kind of shows because the difference is extremely stark. If you look at it again, Varun, do not make that joke. So,
yes.
So we see the Batman Begins, there is like a identity to Gotham, right? There is a cityscape. Then there are the Narrows. There is a bridge. You're opening.
You have a fair bit of his mansion also, no? In this,
yeah, you have
it's a bit of a gaudy mansion.
The Palisades and all of it.
Yeah.
So it's basically world building.
Yeah.
It's like a city. It's basically world building. It's not more on location. It's very set driven.
Yeah.
The difference you will see in Dark Knight, but then it again kind of reverts back to Dark Knight Rises. Not entirely, kind of does.
Well, I think the color palette is toned down a little bit more in Rises, and it commits to that sort of serious tone to it, which I feel benefits like the whole thing a lot more for me.
Because in Dark Knight, Gotham City is basically Chicago. Which works for this because historically speaking, Chicago was the most crime-ridden city in America.
Yeah.
So if you think about it from that context, that's a pretty great move.
Yeah.
Instead of shifting Gotham to New York, you shift it to Chicago.
My qualm with Batman Begins is that it ends all too quickly. Suddenly, birthday party invasion. I'm like, what the hell?
You mean the Raj Al Ghul comes out really like suddenly? Okay.
Yeah, it comes out.
I think Batman Begins is one of the most very
choppy movies,
fast cut. Very, very choppy movie.
Especially the action.
You can't see the action in this. Literally can't.
और बहुत जल्दी खत्म हो जाता है ये movie. बहुत जल्दी खत्म हो जाता है.
I think it's to do with that's what I was saying. Like the one thing I did notice because I legitimately couldn't see the action in the film is the sound, because the sound was doing all the heavy lifting of like
even the action design was kind of a bit of an underwhelming aspect.
Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely. It was done very with a lot of different takes in one scene only.
The good parts about Batman Begins are the performances which were established, and I don't think it's established by the screenplay. I think it's established by the performances.
Yes, absolutely.
I think Bale and Michael Caine's chemistry is bloody good. It's bloody good.
Caine makes some of the worst expository dialogue feel natural in this.
Yes, exactly.
And that's sign of a good actor. No?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And also Bale and Morgan Freeman's chemistry.
Oh, Morgan Freeman's really good in this. He's very, very good. They have
Morgan Freeman has some of the low-key funniest lines in the entire trilogy, and it works every time because of his deadpan delivery.
I loved even Gary Oldman.
If it weren't for the film's requirements, if it weren't for the film's requirements, I would love for the film to actually end at, didn't you get the memo?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That's the subplot also, right? That they developed in the
It would have been great ending, but it wouldn't have made sense to the film. You needed Bruce and Rachel to walk off into the wreckage, as it were.
I I genuinely walk off into the wreckage. I genuinely think that the old man and Bale chemistry, I think, develops quite late, because old man, I think,
Yeah.
only appears in the first act.
Yeah.
He appears very late in the second act.
Yeah.
So,
It's weird though, like for me, like, sorry, just to say that it's strange that Oldman has a reputation kind of to overplay sometimes. Like he's supposed to be a little bit
underplayed here.
He's underplaying like anything in this.
But you look at him in some of his other roles.
Tinker Tailor is the quintessential example. But like
he's so underplayed. So
yeah.
he doesn't speak till like the 18th or 19th.
And then you look at him in Slow Horses, and he's like playing a character, and he's so good at it.
Bombastic, right? Like Mank, even he had that real
even in Harry Potter, even in Prisoner of Azkaban.
Harry Potter, Sirius Black.
Even in Prisoner of Azkaban, when I जब भी recently rewatch किया hall में, like I was wondering कि people were so attached to the character of Sirius Black. I think it might be because of the aura Gary Oldman carries with his performance. जितना भी जितना भी कम time के लिए performance हो, he kills it. He even kills with the screen presence of him.
Yeah.
The old man,
even in a film as tacky as Darkest Hour.
Yeah, he's quite good. Same.
He's the only good thing about that.
What do you mean? Don't insult Joe Wright's direction. His direction is pretty dynamic.
Not in that film. You want to talk about set-driven movies? You can make that a separate podcast and take Darkest Hour.
Why? I thought the camera work in that is amazing. From what I remember,
I agree with Dhruv about the camera.
Bruno Del Bonell, yeah, fine. Fair enough. Cinematography, yeah, but otherwise it looks like
cinematography को भी तो direct करता है ना कोई.
Bruno Del Bonell made David Yates' vision look good. Okay, I mean, that man deserves an Oscar for that.
I'm not even going to start talking about David Yates, because that is going to go to another digression.
Get back to
go to another digression.
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking about directors who ruined franchises rather than made them.
Yes, exactly. So
yeah,
I also think one of the better parts is that talking about Oldman, I think Oldman's chemistry with Batman, Oldman's chemistry with Bruce here, I mean Batman here more or less, Bale and Oldman's chemistry, I think it doesn't begin so much as he just starts getting into it, you know?
Yep.
There is no build up to it as such.
Yep.
But once they get into it, you buy their chemistry.
Yeah, they're
because Oldman being because his Gordon being the only honest cop.
Yeah. Quote unquote honest.
Quote unquote honest, yeah.
Yeah.
He's in a situation where any sort of help is appreciated, because at the very least what this movie actually shows is Gotham is a shithole.
All three movies prove that, I think.
No, but Dark Knight proved that Gotham shitholery is a bit, industrious.
We will get to Dark Knight after this, right? So we'll discuss my qualm, one qualm with the film. One qualm.
Oh my God.
I think qualms hai, but that doesn't mean that it's not an amazing or great or masterpiece of a film, but whatever.
Also, I think one of the few films that gives Gotham an identity is Batman Begins, in a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It gives Gotham an identity.
Yeah.
And it also kind of tries to show, I don't know, a form of mass panic in a way, which, the chaos of the mass panic. It does show it pretty well. This
is basically, we didn't cover the plot, but I don't think we really need to cover it too much. Think of it more as an origin story. I feel it works much better rather than a sort of city in panic mode story. I feel like that happens much better in, I think, Dark Knight
Rises.
Both in
Dark Knight and in Rise.
Yeah.
I think the one relationship we didn't cover, and I think which we should, is the Batman and Ra's al Ghul relationship. Because Ra's al Ghul relationship, as well as how much of Batman is influenced by the League of Shadows. Because it's fascinating if you think about it.
Yeah.
His entire armor, along with his hands, the spikes and everything, his fight styles and everything, it's all inspired by the League of Shadows.
Yeah.
Right, all of it. He's basically a ninja.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm bringing this to Dark Knight Rises in a way, but it works because, which is why his enmity with Bane also works. Because they both are technically excommunicated.
Yeah, absolutely.
They both are ex-League of Shadows members.
Yeah. I think when we eventually do get to Rises, I think we'll see how much of it is more of a continuation of that, and how much
Yes,
of it is.
and also I think that Liam Neeson, I don't agree with the casting. I genuinely do. But I think Liam Neeson plays Ra's al Ghul quite well.
Yeah.
He underplays Ra's al Ghul. He plays a character named Ducard. I think it's based on Henry Ducard, a French detective who trained Bruce when he's in Paris on the art of detection, because he was a French detective. So he appears as Ducard, and he's playing the role of Ducard. And even while he's playing the role of Ducard, you can understand the mentor and the mentee relationship.
Yeah.
And Neeson during this time is actually, he actually gives a shit on the what role he's doing. He's not
hasn't taken away.
Yeah, he hasn't been taken away yet.
Yes.
So he's still on the mode. He gives a shit about the role.
Got it. Yeah. No, he's good. He's good. He has
because he was the only good part about Phantom Menace also. So you can understand my point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but that's No, that makes sense. I think. I mean, I love Varun is messaging us on Zoom.
Yeah.
No, I think I'll come. Neeson, I think, gives the film a sense of gravitas. Really, he does, because
that type of performer.
He's required, because also this is Neeson coming off, I think, his best decade as an actor, the 90s.
Yes.
And he's about to transition into those old man roles that will make him notorious pretty much.
That will make him notorious, and that will also create an entire genre. So whatever you can hate,
and then he'll do One Silence.
Yeah.
No, and also to be fair to Neeson, he had his reasons for doing the Taken films.
Oh yeah,
Natasha
of course.
Richardson's passing and everything.
Yeah.
So, but here I think the duality of the mentor and the villain is very interesting, because Bruce essentially surpasses the mentor, right?
Yes.
In a way, if you think about it, his original sin is that he has dared to actually do better than the man who taught him.
Yeah.
He has actually dared to do better than the tenets of the League of Shadows and everything, because he's trying to better the society without destroying the society and revealing.
I love how Amartya has not noticed it while saying, or he's consumed it. You use tenets, Amartya.
Oh yes.
Yes.
But yeah, I think, and it's an easy performance. The thing is that the bigger actors, so to speak, Freeman, Kane, Oldman, Neeson, they all know that the film actually belongs to Bale.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're not really interested in sort of drawing your attention away.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think some actors do that, and they can do it well. So Pacino in The Irishman, he knows it's De Niro's film, but he's going to do that thing anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take away from the fact that the film.
I thought we were getting a Jared Leto reference soon.
No.
In the not good category.
No.
Okay.
I've not watched enough of Leto. I think I watched him in Fight Club and The Thin Red Line. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have watched only the two good things and Requiem for a Dream.
He's barely in. He's literally there for 2 seconds in Thin Red Line. Okay.
Like everyone else in that movie.
No, not true, but okay.
I thought we weren't getting into Malik.
Yeah, we aren't. I see. I didn't bring him up.
But yeah, I think that's why Neeson is so like when he's sitting by that lake, it doesn't work. If you think about it, the exposition that they try to do in Rises, that he's the guy.
Oh my God,
it doesn't work then.
In Rises is
but if you think about it here, when he's sitting by that lake and he's telling the story.
One time I had a wife. That entire sequence is so
that's
It's so low key. Yeah.
If they just picked that up and pasted it in Rises, it would have worked much better than the exposition.
Yeah, exactly. I did not need to see a ghost of Neeson just appearing out of freaking nowhere,
Bruce. Did I not tell you?
So anything more on Batman Begins?
We didn't talk about Katie Holmes, I think, which is for the best.
Okay, no, she was miscast, but I didn't mind her.
I think she was. I just minded the kiddie voice. She's a very
I think Maggie did more mature.
Maggie Gyllenhaal, I think.
Dark Knight. It was more about her vulnerability, her troubles.
She's
and everything.
got more to do also, I feel, than Katie Holmes.
But also, I don't think the film ends in any way well in terms of how the Bruce sort of Rachel relationship pans out in The Dark Knight. Here they are walking off into that mansion.
No,
What
but
is
they
left of
say
it?
no that, but she says something along which I was like, that's so needy. Like you just before this you were like you be someone who was worthy, and now he's someone worthy, and you're like, but we are
Yes.
separate. I'm like, what? What shall the guy do?
No, I understand the concept that, Batman is the face, Bruce Wayne is the mask. I understand,
Yeah.
but I was like, and this is the Goyer problem. I'm sorry. My hatred for Goyer knows no bounds. This is the Goyer problem because leave it to him to do this type of a nonsense.
Yeah.
Letting the woman tell this thing, use it as a crutch for the woman to break up. I'm like, oh my God, come on. What
Anyways,
is this?
I think for a weird reason, like Maggie Gyllenhaal's performance and use of what like her character itself in Dark Knight becomes a bigger sort of fulcrum, I think, and I think
I also think that Gyllenhaal's contextualization of that same thing, she explains it in Dark Knight. I think she does it better.
Yeah.
She does it better.
I think there's a kiddishness to the Katie Holmes thing, which I feel is a bit.
It's more than kiddishness. Is just, I think, her writing itself. I don't know. I don't think they gave her.
No, they didn't give her much. Yeah.
So she's essentially what? She's Bruce's conscience keeper, right?
Yeah.
That's it. There's nothing else.
In the first act, I think she has the most to do, in which
I mean,
she's
but the
driving him to the Narrows. She's driving him to
the
Narrows.
best conscience keeper is Alfred or like whatever. Lucius, like they are better. They are better at expressing that, I feel.
Yes.
Bruce falling in love with Alfred would be a little difficult to explain.
I mean, it would be radical. That would be subversive.
It wouldn't be radical. It would be grooming. Have you seen how old Alfred is?
But they can fall in love.
Why are we going there?
To the Dark Knight now. Good way to segue Alfred's relationship with Bruce.
That wasn't exactly what I had in mind when I said I wanted to inspire people.
I know. But things have improved. Look at the new district attorney.
I am. Closely. Need to know if he can be trusted.
Are you interested in his character or his social circle?
Who Rachel spends her time with is her business.
I trust you don't have me followed on my day off.
If you ever took one, I might.
Know your limits, Master Wayne.
Batman has no limits.
Well, you do, sir.
Well, can't afford to know them.
And what's going to happen on the day that you find out?
We all know how much you like to say, I told you so.
On that day, Master Wayne, even I won't want to. Probably.
I'm assuming is everyone's favorite here of the three.
Yeah.
Are there any detractors, guys? No? Okay.
I was just surprised at how much I loved this even now after watching it. I think I loved it even more this time around.
I liked it. I think I liked it more than I probably did before also.
Yeah, but okay.
What to talk about the Dark Knight?
Because there are a lot. Oh, there are lots of stuff.
There's lots actually.
Pull up my Letterboxd review.
Yeah.
No, but so the Dark Knight, so I don't think it's more so where to start. I think there's a lot of like.
Let's go chronologically because I need to talk about that heist.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. That's a good
I think it did. I think it took the scene from Heat, and they just upgraded it to some another level.
You said the killing, right?
Yeah, I didn't take the scene from Heat. It took the scene from Stanley Kubrick's The Killing, and I was like,
yeah, but I think they had a bit of heat influences.
That van heist, right?
Yeah.
So this is the opening of the film, basically.
By the way, Man also took it from Killing. Man also took it from Killing.
Okay, so it's like Stanley Kubrick lineage.
Stanley Kubrick all the way. Yes.
Yeah. So no. So I think
by the way, Kubrick's Killing, the cloud mask heist and everything, that's the end set piece. Okay, that's the entire set piece which the movie draws.
Okay. This is the opening, basically.
This is the opening.
So this is basically the introduction of Joker, who I think is the thing that dominates the whole film.
One of the best introductions to any antagonist I have seen, bar none. Yeah. I don't think I've seen a better effective, portrayal of introduction of an antagonist as well as introduction of the existential crisis plaguing a city.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's the thing, right? That's his whole plan. He's like, I am going to show you how far humanity can go.
Yeah.
That's
Can
his whole
fall,
streak.
go
That's his
in the
whole
sense.
streak. He
Yeah.
organizes a heist knowing full well how greed can push you.
Yeah. I mean, I also think it's a great just showcase of how, like, just editing becoming about 2000 times better in this film. Like, just cross-cutting in that one
Insane.
scene
Cross-cutting
is
is
mad.
insane. Cross-cutting is
Like,
insane.
between the different sections of people who are involved in the heist. One is from a car, one is like going from the wire, I think, and one is opening. Like, so it's just a beautifully orchestrated scene.
And again whenever I give example of how to do effective exposition, I always give an example of J.J. Abrams' Star Trek. The ship is going through the wormhole and Kirk is running through and he's explaining what is going on while he's running.
Yeah.
Things are happening in motion while he's giving exposition.
Yeah.
You want to know how to give effective exposition? This is effective exposition. He's like, the dialogue slaps, and of course it's noir. Because the lingo is very specific.
And I know that just to make another point is that I know Heath Ledger's performance has been talked about endlessly, and of course all the plaudits were there, and but there's something so like controlled about his mania in this. Like it's not hysterical.
Unhinged.
Like he's a hysterical. Yeah, it's controlled, like in that, even in that unhingedness, like it's not comical at all.
No.
Like at least I didn't feel it. Like I know he makes like some actually really good jokes in the film, but it's terrifying. I think that's that the comical seriousness. It's very hard to nail that, I feel, and I think this is your almost Stanley Kubrick lineage also, right? That really, really sharp sense of like you don't know to wince or you don't know to like.
It's also like that. I also realized that I think Batman Begins was teasing this also, right? In the end, when Gordon was saying, what about escalation?
Yeah,
you're wearing a mask and jumping off rooftops. Not take this guy.
Yeah,
has a taste for the theatrical IQ.
That's his theatrical match, no?
Nolan just takes that line and applies it to the entire movie, because the entire film is a series of escalations.
Escalations, disruptions, escalation, disruption. It's basically that for two, and it's thrilling.
Another movie which did that so well. It's Na Hong Jin's The Chaser.
Okay, wow. Murder 2.
Okay.
Basically Murder 2.
Okay.
Na Hong Jin's The Chaser, another escalation, disruption, insanely built up. When a screenplay can do that, you know that you're in good hands.
Yeah, Varun, go ahead.
I think Ledger's performance is one of those rare posthumous releases where even though you know that some of the plaudits that he's getting are because he has passed away before the film is released, each and every one of them is actually deserved.
Yes.
There are a lot of actors who star in they don't star in terrible films after they've died. They're terrible films released after they've died.
Yes.
But
Ray Liotta. Okay.
I was about to bring up a film by Foxstar Studios sometime in the mid 2020, but I'm not going to go there.
Yes, please don't.
So, but I think there's a controlled madness to him, but it's also so totally unhinged, right? It's so enjoyable. It's commitment by both director and actor.
Yes.
To a sort of sense of, let's just go with it. And we'll see. If it goes too far, we'll cut it down.
It's also, I think I messaged him saying it's amazing how much he holds back on score when Ledger is performing. Like, it's basically him. The camera's on him and he's sort of given him the room to dominate it. There's no like score pushing you to feel something because he's doing so much.
And like you are telling in the previous film that, Freeman, Kane and everybody, they know that this is Bale's movie, so they are underplaying it so that Bale can perform. In this movie,
Bale is underplaying
it.
Yeah.
He has to be different.
Yes. Yes.
No, I really like Bale in this, even though he really takes a backstage, but like he's really, really good.
And it takes a good actor to stand out when Ledger is doing as well as he is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's also, Ledger's also got this very distinct voice going on.
Yes.
and it's not distinct in the way Bane or Bale
No.
or Bane or
He's also
Wayne's is.
changing it regularly. I think
Yeah.
it's not like the consistency is what he's not about, right? He's about anarchy.
Yes, he's about anarchy.
So yeah, I think that performance just channels it. I mean, brilliantly.
It's the starting of like a series of just great performances across the film. I don't think I can think of like in Begins. There's of course Katie Holmes. There's also the actor who plays Flash, who's a bit like it's
Mark
more of
Boone
an
Jr.?
Mark Boone Jr. He was in
He was in Memento.
Memento.
Yeah, he was
It's
the hotel clerk.
Okay.
It's
For
a
a
very
moment, I thought their characters were the same character from Fall.
the hotel clerk became a
Memento,
police sergeant.
Memento to
By the
Batman
way,
Begins.
Flash is also from Batman Year One. So
Okay.
comic book character. By the way.
But it felt very much like because there's the bribery angle and he's essentially the stand-in for the corrupt crooked cop on the Gotham
Everyone in
Police
this film is corrupt, essentially.
Yeah, so
I don't think anyone is not corrupt in this.
I think the Dark Knight is taking its inspiration from it's definitely taking its inspiration from the Long Halloween. If you have read the Long Halloween.
Yes, I was reading about this and yeah, that was mentioned, yeah.
If you read the Long Halloween is one of the best detective comics of Batman. One of the best.
You know, I this is again some of the stuff this book I will reference because it's got great. It's called the Nolan Variations by Tom Schoen. If anyone is interested in more Nolan, to know about what Nolan has sort of to say about this and sort of a critical analysis. But some of the other films I'll just mention that he referenced for Dark Knight. I mean, definitely we've talked about Michael Mann and Heat, and I think that's that is one of the key references. But others. Fritz Lang, Mabuse, The Gambler,
yes,
1922, 1923. I think silent film.
I'll tell you where he references. Okay. In the jail, you know, where the conversation is going on and
the interrogation scene.
Not the Batman Joker interrogation, the Gordon and Joker interrogation. Where the cinematography is almost like a Gordon Willis cinematography.
Okay, interesting. Okay. Yeah, so I think his references are again like a mixture of stuff, like, but of course it has it's very interesting to me. Like, I mean, I think we can go individually, I think, to get a more comprehensive sort of understanding of the film.
This version of the Joker is very interesting because this version of the Joker also represents America's paranoia and disillusionment after 9/11.
That the 9/11 thing is always, I think, recurring through all the blockbuster cinema.
Yeah, but I think this Joker's version is, I think, 9/11, the Iraq War and everything. Because while he says, you know, that, of course, because this is the Joker, he's referencing Alan Moore's Killing Joke. Because every time he changes his origin, every time he's threatening somebody, he's like, do you know how I got this scars? And then blah, blah, blah.
There's no definite story to it, right?
Yeah, because in Alan Moore's The Killing Joke, there is a very famous line by the Joker in which he says, if I am going to have an origin, it better be multiple choice.
It's a great line.
Yeah, it better be multiple choice. Yeah. So it's like, so he's doing that technically. But you look at him, you look at his planning, you look at how he's meticulously planning everything. There is an
which is so weird, no? Because he's chaos, he stands for anarchy, but it's all ordered.
Like, I love that contrast. It's a controlled anarchy. And then if you think about it, it's very military, right?
Yeah.
It's very military. So if you think about it, if you extrapolate it from a context, what if he's actually a disillusioned veteran who just goes mad due to PTSD? That could entirely
are you telling the story of Taxi Driver, aka Joker?
No, I'm not going Schrader here. No, I'm not.
Todd Phillips.
No, I'm just saying that if I have to extrapolate an
you can, of course you can.
Actual origin story which the Joker wouldn't want, but if I have to do that, I think this is the closest.
Yeah. I just think, I think there's one hint towards the end, and we'll move on from the Joker and talk about other parts of the film also. But I think there's one part towards the end where he talks to Gordon, and he's basically like, in the scene you were saying only, Amartya, where he's like, don't you ever feel so lonely or like alone in the... Yeah, and then he repeats that line towards the end, like in one of his last scenes, and it almost feels like he reveals like just being this broken person, like who has no one and has basically no origin story, and sort of just going around trying to seek some sort of
because
fun.
also fascinatingly, the actual Joker's origin story, he's basically was a career criminal who was being chased by Batman. While they were fighting, he falls into a vat of chemicals, which I can't believe I'm bringing this movie up.
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
No, David Ayer's Suicide Squad.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, David Ayer's Suicide Squad kind of shows that. So that was the actual origin story of the Joker. None of it is here. We don't know why he puts on the paint. We don't know why.
There's 3 different accounts, right? I think, or 4
different
accounts.
3 different accounts. Why the, Belgian smile? It's called the Belgian smile, right? Yeah. Why the Belgian smile?
The Belgian smile or the Glasgow smile?
Glasgow or the Belgian smile? I think it's a Glasgow smile, yeah. Okay. But the Glasgow smile scarred and all of it, right? Yeah. So, again, why? We don't know why. What is he trying to prove? Is he trying to prove that, he's a clown? Is he trying to be kind of like, Zack Snyder's version of the comedian, everything is a joke.
I mean, I think you said it correctly. I think, and he mentioned this is typical of Nolan. His films often do sort of have elements in which everything kind of is presented overtly even. It's this whole thing where he is in the hospital with Harvey Dent and he's basically saying, you'll see what, or to even Bruce, he says, you'll see what people can do when they're pushed against their limits. Yeah.
Upset the established order, and what you have is chaos. I'm an agent of chaos.
Yeah. I love the whole the dog. I'm like the
best thing about
behind.
Chaos. The best thing about Chaos, it's fair. Yeah.
No, and I like that he says, I'm an agent of chaos. So he understands another person can do the same thing as him.
The weird thing is the other film that I thought of just because of Joker, No Country for Old Men. And Anton Chigurh.
You're supposed to, right?
Especially with the coin flipping is also with Two-Face later. So it's like a amalgam. Anyways.
I won't be surprised if when did No Country
No, it's very close to each other.
Very close. Not possible.
2007.
They're 7 or 8 months apart.
I'm not talking about the movie. No Country ka book tha.
Book, it might be a book.
Much earlier than
yeah. Cormac McCarthy. I won't be surprised if Jonathan Nolan or
100%. That's true. Anyways, we can go individually into stuff that we love about the film, and then we can sort of dive into more. Prithwish, you go first, I think.
Yeah.
Because you've been quiet.
No, I'm extremely sorry. Thoda sa problem ho raha hai.
No problem.
Yeah. I mean, I think we need to talk more about Harvey Dent than Joker. I think his portrayal or his trajectory was as near terrific as the Joker.
Yeah.
And I think he's one of the most accurate portrayals of tragic antagonists. Uska kuch hi, things didn't end up on the good side in any event for him. वो elections हो या फिर Rachel के साथ उसका relationship, whatever it is, it all led him to do this thing. It happened in a very tragic way. Very very noirish kind of ballad vibe, I would say. Mood kind of. So I think Harvey Dent ka yahi
I think what you're getting at is very correct though. I think whatever I was reading, at least Nolan and Mr. Amartya's favorite, Mr. Goyer, wrote it as Harvey Dent as the protagonist, essentially. Stuck between these two extremes of Batman and Joker, basically. That's the triangular formation, I think.
I think he explained this concept with this famous dialogue: "You live long enough to see
you live long enough to either see yourself become the hero or become the villain."
Become the worst.
Yes.
Either die early.
Die a hero or see.
Either die a hero
or see yourself.
Live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Become the villain.
Yeah.
Of course, he takes the Caesar. Of course, he takes the Caesar reference because of course he do.
No, but Harvey Dent's character, I think, is fascinating in the sense that he's also I think all these characters, all 3 of them, Batman, Harvey Dent, and Joker, I think they have very twisted ideology. I think all of them sort of have a particular ideology, and all of them also take measures continuously to contradict them, which I think is sort of recurrent throughout Dark Knight. I think with Dent, I think it's more to do with this whole thing of like in the beginning, he says that I leave it all on chance, but it's not chance because he has basically a coin with two heads.
It's a weighted coin. It's basically, he's leaving it all to, it's not actually chance.
Yeah.
He has decided already. He's just going to do it.
Exactly. No. So that's what I'm saying. Like this whole thing about fairness and like all this. I mean, he later sort of commits to what Joker thinks what Gotham people will actually do. And I think his sort of corruptibility is the tragic part. I think what Prithwish is talking about also, right? Like just the whole thing of someone who believes in his ideals.
It's a fall.
Yeah, his rise wasn't scary. It's more of a very tragic way. Actually, it will make you feel sad for him.
It's a fall from grace, more or less.
Yeah.
And speaking of a trio, one of the most memorable scenes I will always remember from the Dark Knight is the rooftop scene with the three of them. The three of them standing in front of the signal, and they are all talking, the three of them.
This is Gordon,
Dent, and Batman.
Batman, Mm-hmm.
Such a beautiful reference to Long Halloween. Beautiful reference. It's like the three of them standing together, because that's what it starts, right? It starts as a partnership, and that's what I'm talking about, escalation.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning only Batman says one man or the entire mob. He can wait.
Yeah.
We first need to bring in the mob. It's essentially two stories cascading, right? They are going to bring in the mob. The mob in their desperation hires a person, like Alfred says, they don't fully understand.
Yeah.
And this is a guy who, again, as Alfred says, some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
And you just gave him the match. You just gave him the
what you're saying is very interesting, but then Alfred is also the one who says we burn down the forest then, which is another really twisted ideological thing about basically burning down Gotham or whoever, like basically killing off the mob in a sense, just to get the person down. Like it's very, I was just like kind of thrilled just by ideological complications of the. I know formally it's an incredible film. So
I think it's more like if you think about this, that we burnt the forest down. What does that mean even? It means like we burnt the contours of his world down.
Yeah. But what is his world? He has no world.
We basically challenged his own ideology. His own ideology is people are always corrupt. That is his own ideology. And that is what he's trying to prove.
Yeah.
How is the Joker defeated? The Joker isn't defeated physically. The Joker is defeated.
It's all psychological, right? It's all psychological.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, Batman just says that not everybody is as ugly as you.
So shall I prove you wrong? Shall I say my qualm then?
Yeah. You did not like that?
I don't think the film, up till the ferry point, gives any indication that people won't blow the other ferry up.
Yes.
I think everything in the film points towards the fact that one of them is going to push the trigger and blow the other ferry up. My thing is that ending, like that moment, feels particularly just so that you need to defeat Joker. But then I guess the rectification is that the ending, which happens after that, is basically Batman telling a lie to protect Gotham's honor, which is again a very weird sort of contradiction where you are like thinking that someone is to protect the sanctity of an organization. Firstly, he's broken the rules also because he surveilled everyone.
Yeah, but it's also thing. But it's also like each and every single time, it's also his ideology being broken every single time, right? Because this guy, and this is why I love how Bale is playing him. Bale is underplaying him to the extent that he's very comfortable in his own skin. He's comfortable being Batman. This is a guy who has been Batman for over 3 years.
Yeah.
He knows the city inside and out. He knows the people inside and out. He knows, he has been dealing with villains, right? But this is the one guy who is forcing him to break his rule, because only by breaking his rule can he ever defeat him. That's what Alfred meant by we burn the forest down.
Yeah.
Only by breaking his rule there can he, defeat him. The
So
problem is,
yes, exactly.
the problem is breaking his rule is also going to have consequences, because the real world isn't like that. And since the Dark Knight is basically a heightened version of the real world, consequences are always going to happen.
Yeah.
But his rectification that, he tells a lie that sometimes people don't need the truth, sometimes the people deserve more. I think that's more because he was moved. I think he was moved by Gotham City's citizens,
decision to not blow up.
Innate decision to at least have a semblance of morality.
No, I understand why that scene is there. It's just that I was like, I am pretty sure someone will blow. Like
No, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No. I was just saying that I just thought that everything the film, every single person who's pushed in this film presses, like whenever they're pushed, they kind of allow the other person to, like be corrupt their ideology itself. So I'm like, especially I was like, I was like, he throws the remote out. No way, like the remote control out of the ship. I was like, really?
That prisoner, right?
I was like,
played by Tiny Lister.
Yeah, I was like, really? I don't think so. I mean, that's again, it's the film's world that sort of convinced me into thinking in that sense also. Like just the sense that, because we are also at that point, where Harvey Dent is also going through his corrupted phase. Like he becomes Two-Face by then, and he is basically, he's killed like 4 cops, right? Or 4 or 5 cops by then. And the gang and the mob leader also.
Mob boss. Played by Eric Roberts.
Yeah.
No, but I agree with Dhruv in that, first of all, I'm not actually particularly fond of the ferry sequence.
Okay.
But to me, it's just, again, one of those, अच्छा एक device डाल देते हैं, let's see if it works. And it does. But I do feel that for a film that nihilistic, it's a bit too much faith in a bunch of criminals and a bunch of self-serving citizens.
Yeah.
And then neither said, like, the citizens are so self-righteous, right?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you blow them up? Blow them up. That would have been an actually very interesting.
I mean, that would have been the indie solution.
No, or like it would have also
like
been more,
it would have also been the most weakest of noir solutions.
That would have totally alienated audiences, I feel.
It would have been the deeper solution.
It would have been escalation all the same, right? Which is what the film essentially does. And also, I felt like the ferry sequence didn't really then, because nothing came of it, it felt like a bait and switch. Yeah, you've been given that, you dangled that carrot in front of me and then you took it away.
And it's a scenario created. That's the only, I think, time in the. I was also like, why will Gordon at that moment in time ship all these people out? All the Indians out. At that point, why? When you know that the Joker is anyways going to do something, he say that the tunnels and all are sort of blocked or something? Or am I confusing Rises with the Dark Knight?
No, the tunnels were blocked. They were backed up, and that's why the ferries were used, right?
Okay.
But the ferries were also used to ship the prisoners away
out because he thought that the Joker is going to do something with them, right?
The Joker was going to do something with the prisoners. I don't think
what essentially Bane ends up doing ultimately by blowing up Blackgate.
Yeah.
But this was my first.
But the problem here is that I think, and this is the part I like the best, that none of the heroes ever figured out how to defeat the Joker until the last stepping second. I think Gordon.
Don't think he got defeated only.
I don't think he got defeated.
No, he actually didn't. He actually didn't, because he won. Because
he dies on his own terms.
Yeah. He won because at the end of the day, Batman had to take a lie.
Yeah. And that lie is then exposed and Rises in any case. So yes.
In any case, whatever.
Wow.
In the most dull fashion. But my first qualm with it was actually the entire Fox going to Hong Kong. Yeah.
Oh really? I didn't mind that this time.
I didn't mind the sequence.
Okay.
So I quite enjoy the sequence. From a writing perspective, I didn't like it.
Okay.
I felt that it's a bit too sort of convenient to go into one of the world's most sort of watched over areas, as it were.
Okay, like
And
this. Okay,
it's a
like
bit
this
much.
espionage part felt a little. I
Yeah,
mean, there
don't
is.
be James Bond. Leave that to
But वो
him.
है थोड़ा element उसमें ना.
You
But
do your
that's
own
very
thing.
very little I
it's
feel
like, but
in
also it's
this.
like that espionage element also ties into the mob element. I understand why they're doing it, right? But
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah, I understand why they're doing it. But yeah, it's like, to be fair, also it's like Batman is anyway like James Bond in DC comics. So it's like I get it why they're
But
trying.
Amartya, you were talking about the sequence. You wanted to talk about the what's the other sequence that I know you love? The one with
The underpass sequence.
The underpass sequence.
Oh dear.
Which I think is
fucking
phenomenal.
God.
Apart from that, I'll get into this Nolan ka thingy with these some of the one-liners are just bad. Like with like really tertiary characters. Like they're the police person sitting in the
Which one? The which dialogue you don't like?
it's
Okay,
a,
that's not good. Okay, that's not
yeah,
good.
I was like, I was into the scene. I don't want that. Like, I just so
but
distracting to
those
me.
are what me and Sanjit effectively like calling the mass moments. Those are the mass moments.
Yeah, I know, I understand. I think there are I think he does some mass moments very well in Rises. I think he doesn't do it because this film is so, like, again, what we said, nihilistic, dark, and like these
don't
moments
need
stick
all
out.
that.
I would like to talk about two sequences. Then one sequence which I think heightens what's the best part about Dark Knight is cross-cutting. Because Jesus effing Christ. Oh my God. That sequence where Joker first gets access into Wayne's penthouse, right?
Yes.
Nolan is cutting through 4 sequences happening simultaneously at the same time.
Yeah.
And he's cutting it while in the background, Zimmer's music, which is aptly titled Aggressive Expansion, that entire track.
Yeah.
That is playing in the background. And it's so well done.
Yeah.
Especially the bombing. The first sequence when the music hits, with the first beat hits, the car blows up. The second beat hits, Loeb starts choking. The third beat hits, Wayne has held Dent on a chokehold and is dragging him back.
Yes.
The fourth beat hits.
Joker enters or what?
The lift opens.
Lift opens.
The lift opens. The fifth beat hits. Wayne says they have come from him. The sixth beat hits and the violin enters. Gun points and he says, "We made it."
Yeah.
And he walks. I'm like,
this is Lee Smith, by the way, who also edited before, and he'll also edit Rises. So yes, I mean, there's this whole the pattern of editing, and this is just mad. I was like, the way it moves between these stories, and we'll get to Rises also, but in this it felt like someone was like, it was a pinball. Not pinball, ping pong session, basically. Like the ball moving in both courts and the ball being Harvey Dent in this sense. But like it feels like violently being thrown into one corner to other.
The fantastic part, and this is also the part, like Dark Knight is also very funny in some instance, right? Because immediately before Wayne comes, like Dent is saying to Rachel, is there someone else? Please don't say that it's Wayne. The guy is a fuck that. Immediately he chokes and she's doing. And this is the dichotomy between Wayne and Batman. Immediately, like Wayne immediately changes. He chokes him and he chokes him out within seconds.
Yeah.
He's unconscious within seconds. He just chokes him out and he pushes him in. And then Wayne is walking by and he's hitting the clown, like, hey, pretty boy, he hits him and he just randomly walks by. I'm like, okay then.
Yeah.
That's
cool. I think it's also a testament to Lee Smith's editing, because if you look at it later on also in his career, and in films which he's not done with Nolan, say the film he's done, the 2 films, he's done 3 films with Sam Mendes, but 2 of them, Skyfall and 1917.
Yeah.
He edits very similar.
editing ही नहीं है.
हाँ सर, मतलब.
हाँ सर, कुछ भी तो नहीं है उसमें.
Least effort.
But even there, like especially in Skyfall, because again it's so much stylized action.
He didn't do Spectre.
Get those cuts right. I mean, Spectre, nobody
I don't
saw
think
it.
it did. I don't think anybody did Spectre editing.
Yeah.
I was about to say, if he did it, then I have questions, because that film has about every scene goes on for 2-3 seconds longer than it should.
Yes.
2-3 minutes longer than
2-3
it should
minutes
actually.
long. Yes, that it's like I also told that in the James Bond episode. Even it's like people saw that Daniel Craig was injured and they're like, okay, let's make the movie slower for him only.
Slower for him. Let's do Casablanca.
Okay, I understand though what
But
you
yeah.
mean by Lee Smith. Okay, and
It's
Mendes,
an
he's a
interesting
Mendes collaborator. Yeah.
so he does the music, matching the music to the visual.
Yep.
It's a trait of his that he sort of carries forward into other stuff.
Yeah,
That happens a lot in Rises also, I think.
Yeah,
I
but
also-
funnily enough, it hits its peak in that scene Amartya is talking about.
aggressive
It doesn't.
expansion.
Yeah, it pretty much hits the
Yeah.
marks it should.
Yeah.
It's as good as can be in the other.
Yeah.
Not in
can
the
be.
final sequence of Dark Knight. I think that's one of the great montages.
But that doesn't have
with the
that
music.
much cross editing, nah. It's
Okay,
just it's
fair
just the
enough.
music going on.
Yeah.
This is like he's hitting at every single. That's why I was telling even in the first episode, like he perfects it.
Yeah.
Dark Knight is the perfect moment. It's peak at this point.
Yeah.
The second sequence which I would like to point is, of course, the underpass action sequence. And I think Prithwish and I are both like action movie aficionados. We absolutely adore this sequence. It's like
absolutely.
holy Jesus. First of all, that truck, when the truck comes, it's laughter is the best medicine. There is an S.
Slaughter.
Slaughter is the best medicine.
I think Nolan is funny in like that instance much more than when he's like really trying to be funny. So, like,
there was a similar scene like this in La Haine as well. The French film, La Haine.
Wow.
The world is yours, and then the guy goes up and sprays off the word white. The world is ours.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Maybe La Haine is the inspiration. I mean, that's not what he's talking about, but it might be.
It might be.
It might be.
It also talks about anarchy. It also talks about anarchy, so there might be a strong connection too.
Yeah.
So you see that, and of course, I think Nolan also makes Batman so cool here. I think this is one of those movies where Batman is like cool as cool AF. Even Bruce Wayne is cool AF. Because
in Dark Knight Rises, he was like अभी तो मैं थक गया हूँ भाई साहब.
अभी तो मैं थक गया हूँ. Yeah. In Dark Knight is cool because the tumbler, he's driving the tumbler, and of course, and you know what's the best part about that underpass sequence? Everything is practical. Every single thing is practical. Every single thing is stunt work.
Yeah.
You only see that now in some action movies, barely. A big budget director like Nolan doing this.
I mean, that's a double-edged sword, because you're then also like excusing a lot of things. Like, I think sometimes he just focuses on that now.
Yes.
Which I think is a bit of a limitation.
Limitation. Yes.
Yeah.
And also some of the instances where these are just funny is like, when he uses the bazooka and Joker is shooting the bazooka, the tumbler comes in the middle and just blasts it. The car goes, Joker just looks at it and like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's like, at least I did not expect that.
Minor inconvenience.
Minor inconvenience. And of course then, the bike comes out, which was like the coolest thing I ever saw as a kid.
Batboard,
Yeah.
I think the music also just picks up for a second as soon as he gets out of the bike.
That huge trailer falling is
the flip of the trailer, right? The 180 almost
insane,
like it. And that's where the music stops, which I think
that music stops also. And it's also those are the sequences which Nolan shot in IMAX.
So first,
I think Nolan's first IMAX film, the first film shot in IMAX is Dark Knight.
But this is my level of engagement. I honestly didn't even notice aspect ratio changes in this. But right now, I was rewatching it.
Was Inception shot in IMAX?
It must be a partial.
No, I don't think so. Is it?
I don't think Inception was shot in IMAX. I think
Inception.
Like
Interstellar to hai, no? I think.
Interstellar shot in IMAX.
Interstellar. Dark Knight was shot in IMAX only in specific sequences, like
20 minutes or 12 minutes, something like that.
Action sequences and
I didn't notice only, sir, this time.
No, that is for all the films. That is for all the films. His films are part rectangle part.
No,
IMAX.
but Dark Knight Rises, it's very noticeable because Dark Knight Rises at least 70 to 60% is like IMAX shot, and it's like it's very noticeable.
Yeah.
It's very noticeable. In
Also, the
Dark
aspect
Knight,
ratio changes now, so
yeah.
there is kind of a
I totally
distortion.
noticed this when I watched Michael Bay.
Oh God.
Not Age of Extinction.
Age of Extinction or Last Night?
Last night.
Yeah.
हर scene में था.
Last night it felt like he's having an aneurysm because each and every second like aspect ratio
screen ऊपर नीचे like
हो क्या रहा है भाई छोड़ो please.
Okay, वो तो consistent question whenever I watch a Michael Bay film.
Yeah, Inception is not shot on IMAX at all.
Okay. Interesting, right?
Not even wide. It's not even shot in wide. Just shot like regular. I think 35.
My God,
that is
this
very
was
very
Nolan, okay?
Yeah,
but I don't think Inception required it because Inception was a very classical in its action pieces. It was a very classical action.
Yeah.
So, and I think one of the final action set pieces which I would think about is the hospital sequence, which is not an action scene, but it's like I think it's one of those pivotal emotional sequences, because that is the sequence in which Joker finally kind of reveals his ideology. Joker also kind of accelerates Harvey Dent's fall from grace in a way. And of course, it is that famous Joker scene in which he's getting out, the hospital is exploding, then the explosion suddenly stops, and then he
phenomenal.
Presses the button, and I'm
like his laugh was synced with the explosion as well. The time of explosion, the sound design was done.
By the way,
so
that was
perfectly.
improvised.
That
was improvised.
Oh wow!
Wow.
That button thing was actually not working.
Wasn't working. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a great moment.
Yeah.
That's a great moment.
It's also a great special effects moment, like practical effects works wise.
Absolutely.
To do that kind of, it's almost like that Derek in There Will Be Blood. That kind of big
the flame.
Piece. Yeah.
The flame that erupts.
In fact, in There Will Be Blood, it caused issues to the guys who were shooting nearby, which was No Country for Old Men.
Oh wow!
Because they could see the smoke.
Is this just a joke or is this actually?
I've read this somewhere. This somewhere.
Just okay.
Yeah.
Robert Elswit shooting Big Derricks and Deakins is like, what's that smoke?
I think now we can talk about some of the relationships which I think improved massively from Begins. I think I am not being harsh on Begins. I think Begins had a lot of job establishing the relationships.
Yeah.
I think the deepening of the relationships happened here. Especially, I think the partnership between Gordon and Batman. Yeah, that partnership is like, it's so good. That entire partnership is so good. Like, there is a shorthand. You can understand that there is a shorthand between the two of them. Especially during some of those sequences when that if Coleman Reese isn't dead within 5 minutes, I will blow up a hospital. That entire sequence, where he's sending the messages, he's taking the messages. That's like pure shorthand. And that is the deepening of the relationship which is happening right between the two of them. So, which is why it all works, and that is why when Gordon quote unquote dies, he's sitting in the porch, and his wife, he's hugging, but his wife is calling out to him, and he's saying, out there.
That is one of the other instances which I'll get to again in Rises, because it's it strikes more prominently. The whole wife thing, just including her for like a second. To establish emotional
arcs. Yeah.
And I'm like, it doesn't make a difference. I mean, it didn't make a difference to me if it was there or not. Like that last scene would have still hit me.
It could have been his wife, it could have been his mother, it could have just been his children.
It could have been his children only. I think his children would have worked far better.
Would have worked far better, single father kind of situation.
Yeah, because his kid was, because
he was his favorite in anyways, right? That's how Joker decided, at least.
Yes, and it's also like, oh boy, I'm not getting into the Gordon family tree. Anyway,
Gordon family tree.
Just reminding you, the kid which is being shown here is James Gordon Jr. In the comics, James Gordon Jr. grows up to be a serial killer. Just putting.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
Mindhunter.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, and he's terrifying. He's terrified. Yeah. So pretty weird. Anyway.
He looked pretty happy to see he looked pretty concerned to see Batman run away.
No, I'm just saying that this is not the version of the James Bond.
I understand.
Sure, but you get the idea.
वो version आ जाएगा अब तो verses बन ही रहे हैं ना इतने सारे.
अब तो सब कुछ ही होगा और क्या है. But yeah, and what else is there? There are a lot of things in it. The Morgan Freeman being complete badass for every scene he's in.
He also has a subplot in this, right? With
Lau and Coleman.
No, Lau and the Reese guy or someone.
Yeah, Reese guy.
The office guy who's about to be, who's like the fourth or fifth person Joker's about to murder.
Yes.
Ramirez, I think, tries to kill him, right?
The hilarious bit is, I'm sure Joker didn't plan that, right? But Joker is like, oh, somebody's revealing him. His identity. That's no fun.
Yeah.
I don't care about his identity. Why are you revealing him? You're destroying my fun. I will kill you. Okay then.
But that's the point, I think, where we were talking about how the plotting there to me makes sense, because it's very much part of Joker's plan to create these diversions.
It's not about the money. It's not about the money. It's about sending a message. Which, by the way, that warehouse sequence.
The burning the money.
Yeah, the stack of money.
Yeah,
that stack of money. Lovely sequence. Yeah.
Even the subsequent warehouse sequence is great.
Which one?
When Rachel and Harvey.
That's just a heartbreaking. That's another masterclass of cross-cutting.
Yeah. And of course he shifted it. I was like,
why would you trust the Joker?
And then I realized,
Gordon could have saved,
moment. That was a very emotional moment anyway. People were completely out of it.
I think the only thing I didn't like about that bit was the fire on Aaron Eckhart's face.
How it digitally
it looks
like
it's not like
that Gordon and Batman's shorthand. You understand that there is a shorthand because he's in the interrogation sequence,
he sees him out of control, even though he says he's in control or something, right?
Yeah, not even that. It's like he knows.
Who are you going after?
He's standing in the back, right? He's standing in the back, and he knows. So he's just like, if we're going to play games, he opens the handcuffs and she just walks in.
Yeah.
And Joker says that good cop, bad cop routine. He's like, not exactly. And he just closes the door. And the other shorthand is, I truly believe that during the interrogation sequence, when it is beginning, he was in control. But when he pushes him in the pillar and then he starts to, put the chair back, and you see Gordon running and you realize that they have done this before.
That changes to handheld also at that time, and it becomes properly chaotic at that point. It's just again, masterfully directed sequence, I feel.
And you realize also that this has been done before. They have done this before. This interrogation thing, they have done this before. So he knows when he's out of control, and this is him being out of control, and that's scary.
And scary for Gordon. So
that's scary for Gordon. Who's a cop? So you realize, oh boy.
Absolutely.
So you don't have to explain this, which is what is frustrating about Nolan, right? These are sequences you don't need to explain. But then
he doesn't even. I don't think in that what you're talking about, the shorthand, he doesn't explain a lot of times, which is great. And which is why I'm using this as an opportunity to jump ship.
I got it.
to a film which is content on explaining a lot.
Yes.
You should use the alliteration, excessively expository.
What are you doing?
I can get it out over the bay.
Set it to fly out over the water, then eject?
No autopilot.
You could have gone anywhere, did anything, but you came back here.
So did you.
I guess we're both suckers.
I never cared who you were. And you were right. But shouldn't the people know the hero who saved them? A hero can be anyone. Even a man doing something as simple and reassuring as putting a coat around a young boy's shoulders to let him know the world hadn't ended.
So we are going to the Dark Knight Rises now, which I don't think is terrible, but I think it's got its weaknesses. But
I think I pointed this out in the chat today, right? That what I think is when Dark Knight Rises suddenly takes a time jump, it jumps to 8 years.
8 years.
But it jumps like it's in the middle of a story, right? Like 3 years ago, shit happens, which will come into play here. Then shit is happening 5 years ago that will come into play here. So you're already putting in a lot of context which you will have to explain. Why are you doing that?
That, and then you include other 2-3 things also, which come from even before. So it's like stuff upon stuff upon stuff. Like it's a film.
Stuff on, and also you have to include the fact that this is going to be the coda to the trilogy, and it is also kind of sort of a response to Batman Begins, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a lot of.
That's a lot of stuff. Yeah. And it's a properly like if bloated movie is maybe the best way to
shows
sort of,
I
like basically I took a break, so I'll just say my thing and then we'll move. Prithwish, Varun and Amartya, we can go in that order. But I was watching it today only again, and I was like till the halfway point basically, which I mark as sort of him taking control of Gotham. Bane. There's this I think very popular the whole sequence where the field
stadium.
The stadium sort of like collapses because he blows it up. Until that point, I was like, this is pretty good. Like I really liked a lot of stuff that was going on, and then it moves into this whole thing where it has to parallel a lot of stuff, and it feels like stuff. It never feels like that cross-cutting between things never feels like it's bouncing off each other. It feels like it's just a lot of like people needing to show things to be led up to this point. And for a change, like it was weird. Like I was watching the cave sequence, which I loved before, and I couldn't even this time. I was like, I don't know, it just didn't move me. Like the cave sequence is the again very popular shot in India sequence, quote unquote, exterior of it.
Mehrangarh Fort.
Mehrangarh Fort.
Yeah.
Nakul Kamte did the sound design on that bit, I think.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Interesting.
It's also fascinating though which stories he's adapting here, because he's adapting. First of all, the choice of making Bane the villain. I'm like, okay. For context, Bane is a 1990s villain. Okay, so when Bane came out
he's in Batman and Robin, no?
Yes.
Very briefly, I think.
Jesus Christ.
Everybody's in that movie.
Everybody's in that movie for no reason whatsoever. That movie is there for no reason whatsoever. Anyway, so
it was to make Batman Begins happen.
Yes. Anyway, so Bane came out during the 90s, during a time when everything was in excess and DC Comics did not know what the fuck it was doing. So the only thing it knew what to do to boost sales is remove its main characters from the equation. So in the 90s, Superman dies for the first time under the hands of Doomsday, which is a very famous thing even now. Like Superman dying actually made the actual papers. That was a huge thing.
Wow.
Similarly, Batman came across a villain who comes to Gotham. He was an inmate at a prison called Santa Pisca. He used a chemical called venom to increase his muscle strength and everything, basically steroids. But he's also a master criminal who has a group of people under him who he uses to control all of Gotham's criminals. And effectively...
Organized crime in a way only.
Organized crime, and effectively his plan was to tire Batman out.
Okay.
And entire night he's going to make Batman run ragged around because all of the criminals were doing everything simultaneously in Gotham City. His entire plan was to tire Batman out until finally he reveals himself and he fights Batman, and at the end of the day he breaks Batman's back.
Interesting.
That was Bane. Bane was introduced in the 90s. Bane's name to fame, basically, I can't believe I'm doing this. Bane's name to fame is breaking of Batman's back. People know Bane because of that.
He's basically a WWF guy.
Yes.
Lagta bhi hai na thoda.
Yeah, because you see in the comics he's wearing a Lucha Libre mask. So he is like that. So fascinating choice to put Bane as the character.
No, but what you've described, I like how they've like reinterpreted it in
yeah,
whatever
but
way they did.
but the
Again, till
reinterpretation
a
is pretty
point.
good. Yeah,
Till a point.
till a
I
point, the
think,
reinterpretation is
yes.
pretty good because
Yeah.
like I was again describing this, like Bane is such a physical presence, right? He's like the complete opposite of Joker. Joker is the psychological presence. Bane is the physical presence, which works perfectly in this context of Batman because this Batman is old. He's retired. So it's basically a younger upstart coming to fight against an older, jaded, retired, person. So from that regard, it works. And so interesting that Nightfall is adapted, but he adapts it well. The other story which is adapted, which is also very interesting but very bloated story, which kind of makes sense in the context of this movie as well, is No Man's Land.
Okay.
No Man's Land originated in the 90s in a story called Cataclysm, in which a earthquake occurs in Gotham City. Okay. Earthquake happens, which completely almost decimates Gotham City, destroying open the prisons and letting the prisoners run loose. Okay, all of it. The entire night, Batman and everybody are, getting out of, trying to put the prisoners back in, trying to make sure the city is under control and everything. But within that chaos, a lot of things happen. And Gotham City effectively has become kind of like a epicenter of a horror show. At that time in DC Comics, the US president, I think, was Lex Luthor.
Interesting.
Very weird, but Lex Luthor.
And just imagine Jesse Eisenberg as a president.
No, just imagine Donald Trump. Just a smarter version.
I thought you were about to say Kevin Spacey, wasn't
No,
Kevin
just
Spacey?
just imagine Donald Trump. But a
मेरा वो Dawn of Justice वाला.
Yeah. Just imagine Donald Trump, but a smarter version. So he's the president, and he's like, to take revenge on Batman, decides that the US government is not going to provide funding and aid and anything to Gotham City, because Gotham City has become completely disconnected from the US state, and it has become a kind of sort of a failed state. So Gotham City, for an entire year in DC Comics, there was an entire run which is called the No Man's Land, in which Gotham City becomes an island.
Which is kind of in this also, right?
Yeah, basically. Kind of in this also, yeah. Gotham City becomes an island and nobody is able to help them.
Okay.
So that's what they are adapting here.
No Man's Land and the other thing you said.
And Nightfall. That's what they're adapting here. I think the No Man's Land adaptation was very sloppy here. Because genuinely speaking, I think those sections were very underdeveloped. It went very quick.
Quickly, right? That's what I was thinking this time. I was like, where is the... Yeah. No, sorry, go ahead. What were you saying, Varun?
It just didn't have any impact, right? When that bridge gets blown up.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, yeah, okay, Blake, find another way, man. I don't really care.
Yeah. And it's also like, my bigger reaction was, you people don't know engineering. Destroying of a bridge in the middle doesn't ensure that the bridge is standing. The entire bridge will fall.
That might also be down to Nolan not knowing engineering.
No,
I
Nolan
think he probably has
Nolan
a doctorate in science according to the movies he makes right now.
Nolan doesn't know civil engineering, I think.
Okay. That is understandable. Fair enough. But say, Prithwish, you could go ahead. Sorry, what do you? I think you're not a big fan of Rises, right?
Yeah, I mean, like what I had in mind after while watching Dark Knight Rises, I think Nolan gave it a bit much to the audience, to the massive response that followed after Dark Knight. I think he gave himself a bit too much to the typical Hollywood formula.
Blockbuster
And
type.
Kind of a very, very diluted Nolan film. It's very diluted. I won't say it's complex or anything or any.
It's Begins just made better.
Yeah.
It's Batman Begins just made better.
Yeah. I think he made it more into a more commercial, more diluted film. And I think the ending was also kind of divisive. It sort of open to a lot of divisive responses as well. Like Batman could have died. Like you could have given a proper ending, not showing Bale alive again. उसमें थोड़ा सा वो डिवाइसिव ओपिनियन हुआ था उस टाइम पे. I think it's a bit of a dicey take decision to keep Christian Bale alive.
Keeping Bale alive, yeah. But again,
I think मतलब उसमें बैटमैन का लेगेसी अगर खत्म, like if Batman could have died over there, it could have been a perfect ending or a proper ending to the
to a
character
trilogy.
arc throughout the to the trilogy. It would have been a perfect, like you could, like it wasn't necessary to see for that scene, like to keep Bale alive. जरूरी नहीं
I
था.
think they set it up, no, so they have to pay it off kind of with Alfred.
I mean, okay,
but
you
it doesn't
drink.
work
I mean,
because
I
Anne
mean,
Hathaway is in that
okay.
scene.
I mean, okay, you
Why?
drink the cornet.
Yeah, also
like,
Anne Hathaway, Catwoman is not.
Really,
No,
I really enjoyed it this
I
time.
like her.
I really like her.
I like Zoe Kravitz Catwoman
I didn't
better
like that
Okay,
than
I
at all.
am not
Anne
a fan
Hathaway.
of Zoe Kravitz's
Okay,
Catwoman.
my version, my thing with Anne Hathaway's Catwoman is like, I like how expressive she is. Like,
Yeah, that's what I liked
in the
about
moment,
it.
in like there is the sequence in the first act. There are lots of scenes in the first act. Like there's a scene in the first act where she's meeting Vaughn Gorman's character and selling the fingerprints.
Fingerprints, yeah.
And then the police comes and she's like loading the gun and everything, and suddenly the police comes and then she's crying like hysterically. And then the police goes away and then her face suddenly shifts and I'm like, damn. Okay.
No, it's a very the shiftiness of the again voice work. A lot of voice work is changing. A lot of the times I feel that
the best
and she doesn't require a contraction on the face for it.
Yeah, the best is an introduction. She's acting like she's a normal servant girl.
So
he suddenly reveals that
oops,
her face changes. Oops, and her diction changes, and I'm like, nice.
Yeah,
this is good.
I thought even like I thought the first half actually was fairly even like
it's laborious, but it was going okay.
I thought it was like a eat the rich narrative. I was like, how it fits it fits very well into that.
It is.
I'm surprised they didn't push into the whole. I mean, they kind of do.
I think Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman was more kind of a human. It was more humanized and more.
I thought so. This is my recurring problem with the new Batman is that I feel nothing while watching it. So and I never bought their relationship. So to me, it's like that. But I know Amartya has defended it with me also. But
I don't know why I need to defend that movie. That movie is great.
No, the movie is very well made. It doesn't do anything for me emotionally. Is my problem with it. So yeah.
No, but like I think Selina Kyle is essentially a fun superhero in this world, right? She's kind of having fun with the fact that she's got these slightly nifty tricks up her sleeve.
Yes.
That she can get away with most things.
But that's the thing about this universe, right? There isn't a quote-unquote superhero. Batman is not a superhero.
No, he's not. He gets beaten up. As Bale shows.
He gets absolutely pummeled in this.
Pummeled. Like the doctor says, ask him what cartilage it means. You don't have any cartilage it means. That is hilarious.
Yeah.
But continue. Yeah.
I think like Dhruv said, it's got a great sort of first hour or so.
Yes.
But I think where it really well and truly loses the plot is after the second hour ends. Because it keeps cutting these scenes
this is when after Batman comes back?
No. So it's just
Batman
before he comes back.
The end.
Just before he comes back, it's just glacial. They're like, so this is happening and that's
they're setting up like that entire No Man's Land sequence. They're just setting up the world, and I'm like, you know, if you were going through the pacing like you did with the first act, you needed another hour. And I'm like, your entire script needed streamlining, man. This story
and you can just cut down 20-25 minutes from the film. You can lose entire scenes and you won't,
I think you can lose the whole Talia al Ghul back plot only.
That's a story. It's a story arc, I would say. But
I know, but like,
I would agree.
I think it dilutes Bane also so much after that.
You know what you actually need to remove. You know, I actually needed to remove. I don't know what you could have put it in place of that, but I think you needed to remove that entire nuclear bomb, the fusion.
That's the second MacGuffin. There's another. Earlier, there's a different MacGuffin, right? Or no?
No, that is the only MacGuffin. That is the beginning of the MacGuffin. That is the MacGuffin.
That is where they introduced the MacGuffin. Sorry. Yes. But they have to introduce it. You have like Marion Cotillard's character go to the place.
And the thing is like, if you're going to do it in the second act, that you're putting an ether-rich narrative and Bane is leading a revolution and everything, just lead with that. I mean, League of Shadows' entire perspective is like destruction of society to rebuild anew. Just do that. Why are you putting a nuclear weapon in the middle of it?
And the nuclear weapon, and there's only one scientist in the world. It reminded me a lot of every Hindi film about science that I've ever watched.
Every James Bond
I was about to say, it's very
dude.
James Bond at points, actually. Like, I guess the earlier James Bond, like, which is a bit like
Sean
sillier.
Connery,
But
And-
it's
and
not
Sean
silly.
Connery,
Like, let me be very clear.
Yeah.
Nolan is not doing silly here.
No,
right?
he's
He
not.
is fully committing to
he's
his...
he's doing silly. I'll tell you where he's doing silly. But
No, portion, like bits and pieces, but not overall. It's
Overall.
potent only. Like it
But
has
like-
a self-serious thing to it.
Yeah, the entire Dr. Pavel is the only one. I'm like, in a world full of nuclear physicists, you can't find one more. I sure as
No,
hell
and then
can show you
these,
like 5 scientists.
What about
Yes.
Lucius Fox?
Yeah, like doesn't the guy know anything? But he's not nuclear physicist.
You people are using movie logic here that any intelligent scientist can figure out a nuclear weapon.
No, I'm
any
not-
nuclear physicist. That's my point.
Yes.
Any
Oh,
nuclear physicist.
By the way, it's a good opportunity to actually say how good the first opening sequence actually with Bane is. I love
I love
the
that.
Lovely,
opening.
lovely.
That is
The plane
Aidan
hijack.
Gillen, man.
Aidan
Aidan
Gillen,
Gillen as that
Aiden
CIA
Gillen.
Mm.
There are lots
Yeah.
of people in this who are like big stars now, like Ben
Yeah,
Mendelsohn.
even one of the dudes in the stockbroker thing who gets beaten
Yeah,
up. quite
yeah. I
badly.
think
Glenn
the
Powell.
Top Gun
Glenn
guy,
Powell.
right?
Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell, oh yeah,
Glenn
that's
Powell.
him.
Glenn
I
Powell.
I couldn't place him at all.
Who
Yeah.
gets beaten up? He gets smashed.
Yeah.
He gets his
Yeah.
face
He's in
smashed
Top
onto
Gun.
the stock.
Very
He's
satisfying.
in Top Gun. He's in Top Gun Maverick.
He's
Yeah.
Hangman, yeah.
He's Hangman. Yeah.
No,
Very
but
satisfying now
I
that I-
think the biggest waste was freaking Ben Mendelsohn.
Ben
Oh
Mendelsohn.
yeah, that
John
too.
Daggett.
I felt bad for him when he had to explain what a clean slate means.
Oh God.
Anne
that
Hathaway. I was
exposition,
like,
holy crap.
I understand you need to explain the audience stuff, but please leave
American
the poor guy
audience,
alone.
American
No,
audience के लिए
I
picture
don't.
है ये.
Yeah, I don't think it's American audience. I think it's more like the world audience because Batman is like by that point
Clean
Batman is
slate
like
से
Exactly.
क्या मतलब
The
निकालेंगे?
Dark Knight के
वो स्कूल में होता
that's
था ना.
it's
Slate.
basically
Slate.
it's basically Nolan suffering from success.
yes.
Yeah.
Is this the problem? Or I just think I messaged Amartya saying there's
I
that
think
one.
he has an exposition problem.
There's that Bruce Wayne moment with
Yeah, you did not need that
Gordon.
line, and you gave
Yeah.
you gave the
it's
flashback.
such a like he does show and
That
tell
is not-
and
That is
tell
not
and
the
show
most,
and tell.
that
I
is
was
not
like,
the most distracting thing in that entire sequence. By the way, the distracting thing is Talia al Ghul's death scene. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ,
the-
look at that scene.
how do you okay that scene? I have no idea. Like as Nolan, like who is so much of a like perfectionist almost.
Let's just say it was Marion Cotillard's last day on set and they were like अच्छा खत्म करने का तुम.
अरे तो बाकी की टेक करवा लेते उसका वैसे भी या आउटटेक्स इंसेप्शन से ले लेते उसमें भी तो वो लेट के मर ही रही है 5-6 बार.
I think that's the problem, right? Because it's like we can ignore it all we want, but Nolan can't write women characters. I'm sorry.
No, he did write one very good one.
That was in Memento.
Yeah, but it was very
that
good.
That was a short story by his brother, so वो भी
and also
थोड़ा
that
वो
was a
input
femme,
है.
and that was also a femme fatale. Writing a femme fatale and writing a positive women character who ultimately changes is far difficult. Believe me, writing a women
Maybe
character is not easy.
Oppenheimer is the
No femme fatale.
Why,
and
why
Oppenheimer.
you guys like Interstellar, right? I mean, I like it also, but like, what about Jessica Chastain in that, or like?
I think both
Anne
her and
Hathaway
Anne
in that?
Hathaway are better performers than the script gives them.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So that I will
Even
agree.
here, like Anne Hathaway is the better written character because she's a femme fatale.
Yes.
It's
She's
not.
the-
Yeah.
No, I mean, she's
Yeah.
also a villain only, Talia al Ghul.
No,
It's just that she doesn't have anything to do. Like,
But she's not a femme fatale. Femme fatale
kind
is
of only,
not
no?
classical. That
No,
not
no,
Not classical, but like, yeah.
She's
Understand.
a villain.
She's a villain. She's basically like the hidden villain who is always pulling the strings.
Boo. that kind of moment. It
Don't
was
remind
all
me of
along.
that movie.
The author of all your pain.
Yes. Oh God. Oh God. It was me, James.
No. But yeah, no, I don't know. I feel once the terrorist subplot and the whole thing that Bane is like the person who helped Talia al Ghul basically when she was locked up in the dungeon or
So
cave.
what's with the man who loved me? He went from being a protector to a lover in like a
Oh yeah. There's a lot of that in this actually. Like 2 seconds they make you go from one place to another without like it's like half. What Varun, you mentioned this, right? Is this a plot hole or is this whatever? I was looking out for that.
Continuity.
It is literally half a second beach mein they take to like tell you where she's gone.
Acha, it's like I remember the thing which Varun said, right? कि पहले ब्रूस वेन आता है
नहीं पहले वो अरेस्ट होती है
पहले वो
अरेस्ट होती है
फिर ब्रूस वेन आता है and I'm like no even within all of this plot progression and everything नोलन का टाइम का प्लेइंग खत्म नहीं होता है बंदे का he's playing with time here also. I'm like at least linear कर क्या कर रहा है, at least keep it linear. Why are you playing with time here?
I mean, there's a lot more. Actually, there was one thing that's sort of different in Dark Knight was that there's very little of that thing that Nolan does about flashing back to like a past moment.
Dark Knight, Dark Knight is immediate. Dark Knight takes place over a week. You realize?
Yeah.
It takes place just over a week. 5 people are murdered. 5 people, 5 days. The entire movie ends within the 7th day.
Yeah.
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
It's
Rise has a lot of what?
Dark Knight is almost biblical.
Rises takes also, like it's like
it's anti-biblical. It's anti-biblical. It ends with the sun rising, but it's like the evil he's going back. You know?
No, and it clearly takes over months. Takes place over months.
नहीं 5 months का तो timeline automatically है ही. Because the countdown they say that there's 5 months till this atom thing is going to blow up, and I was
and
like,
then you can factor in how much ever time it took Bruce to sort of get there.
मतलब उतना टाइम ही लगेगा होगा ना. और आई मीन सिर्फ बैक ही तो टूटी थी 2 हफ्ते 3 हफ्ते में पुशअप्स करके ठीक हो जाता है.
Dhruv has broken his back multiple times clearly.
नहीं इसलिए तो बोल रहा हूँ 2-3 हफ्ते ही लगते हैं बस सब ठीक हो जाता है.
And the other plot hole that Amartya pointed out, which was how the hell did he get from Mehrangarh
autopilot. It was the autopilot. वो आ गया खुद ही.
It was just an auto which flew.
Oh, by the way, the good thing which I liked is this movie also kind of showed that Bruce Wayne is like stealthily a sort of a genius, like a brilliant person, because he is the one who fixed the autopilot. He's also the one who apparently Lucius Fox believes that he can do all of it, because he's like a less busy mind can solve this.
He says that, right? Yeah.
A less busy mind.
See, that sort of setup is good. I feel like, you say it's more conversational, like he's talking to Lucius in general, and then he says that, it's linked with his whole thing.
Yeah, when he finally reappears, and when he tells Lucius that you have to get me back to the game, and then they go to that Batcave kind of a thing, which was in Dark Knight. Where he gets his suit.
The city bat container, I call it.
Bat container, yeah. Which is again very cool.
Bat basement.
Bat basement. Which was again so cool. That was like so cool. And it's like he's explaining how to do it, by a microwave signal which will stop it and everything. And Bruce is giving the options. So you understand. So they are explaining that Bruce Wayne is actually a brilliant guy. He's not Lucius Fox brilliant, but he's brilliant.
Yeah.
So these are the parts I like. Again, and you see that, and that's frustrating because you're like, he's giving you exposition without giving you exposition.
Yeah. I mean, I very much appreciate the whole, again, this is the continuation from Dark Knight, which I appreciate, which is the whole idea that the truth needs to be put out, and the idea that, the promise, the Harvey or the Dent Act was actually kind of a failure in many ways because it created more class inequality in a sense. And that, the people who are like the people on the top or like at the top sort of used it as a way of basically the funding to the orphanage stops and all that also happens, right, during this time.
Yes. And also fascinatingly, like the Gotham City becomes safer, but Gotham City also becomes complacent. And the
Exactly.
complacency is what leads to Bane actually infiltrating.
Yeah, I actually think the whole plan is pretty solidly laid out.
Yeah.
Like the idea of using the stock market as a way to like gain access to this whole thing, and then using his concrete laying company to actually put like explosives at like underground. I thought that was a pretty like neat plan.
I think
like
it's fantastic, but like everything in the middle then becomes that.
Honey, this is after that, no? After you
Yeah,
blow
and
it all up, then
and the
you
bigger
get
problem,
to
and again the bigger problem is that entire nuclear bomb ka sequence, which is like for putting in context, you have to introduce a new character, you have to introduce a newer MacGuffin, you have to introduce all of it. That is again putting it added pressure and added load.
Yeah. नहीं there's a lot, and then there's ये भी तो
I'm
Gordon
sorry,
Levitt की बात ही नहीं की है, वो भी है यहाँ पे साइड में घूम रहा है.
वो करूंगा, and it's like साइड में घूम रहा है, ऐसा भी है क्या?
नहीं, but I mean there is like it does feel a little too scattered sometimes, like just in the edit. Like it feels a little, yeah.
And it's also like you realize that how are you going to that entire nuclear bomb sequence? I'm the more I think about it, the more I'm like, you could have removed it entirely.
Yeah, but how would have they ended it then?
You could have ended it any way you wanted. Like Bruce Wayne returned back, right? Bruce Wayne returned back. Yeah. The city is safe. Fuck all. I'm going away. Bye.
Yeah, but that would play very well with the audience, wouldn't it?
No, but there are multiple ways of killing him.
He wanted a happy ending, right? Just put a happy ending.
He's like, he can give one speech, farewell speech type.
Yeah, he can give one farewell speech. He can reveal himself. He doesn't need to reveal himself also. He could just give one.
Just give a speech as Batman.
Yeah, just give a speech as Batman. Please don't use the cigarette verse. But yeah. He can give a farewell speech and he can just walk away. He can just say that, my work here is done.
Yeah.
I believe that, that entire line, I see a city, shining.
That's
and
taken, I think, from Charles Dickens's A Tale of Two Cities.
Yeah, just imagine him reciting that line in the speech and then telling everything and then revealing his truth and then walking away.
Yeah.
He's like, my work here is done.
Yeah.
Done.
I like the last montage too much, though. I like.
Yeah, the last montage is very well done.
Really, you don't like it, Varun?
Nah, I don't like the entire Alfred being made to cry shit.
Oh, really? I liked the relationship in this quite a bit.
I like it, but like Alfred walking away was also Alfred laying down the law for.
It felt very, out of character also. It's like,
The crying felt out of character. Yes.
Not even crying. Him going away is also kind of like out of character.
Yes. He would have and Bruce kicking him out was also a bit much.
No, but that made sense to me considering the betrayal. No,
it's not a betrayal.
Really. It's not a betrayal.
Because Bruce is behaving again like the petulant child of Begins. He's not thinking about.
And Alfred is not wrong. Alfred is not wrong. Alfred is not wrong. You dressing up in a bad costume and then.
No, of course he's not wrong. He makes sense, but like he kept that secret, no?
Yeah, you dressing up in a bad costume and then you taking a fancy gadgets and everything and then you lead the police around on a merry-go chase. That's exactly what he did. He's not wrong.
No, of course he did. I'm not saying that he's right or wrong. Yeah, no. Like I'm saying that it is because of the hidden secret that he got pissed, right?
No. While that's true, I think Bruce Wayne 8 years after
I can understand
Rachel's dead would have thought about it a little more than being like, get out.
Yeah, and it's also
but he didn't say get out because the next day he's looking for him again.
He's looking for him, but it's that petulant thing of. I think by the time
गुस्सा तो आएगा ही ना.
40 साल का है ना वो picture में भी.
And it's also very weird that Alfred doesn't try to get back to Gotham.
Because he disappears after a point. Maybe Michael Caine was just tired.
Yeah, Michael Caine is Bane. Simple.
I'm sure that Alfred saw the news of the No Man Land thinking, and he must have been like, oh my god, what the hell did I do? Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So he must have tried to come back. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So he didn't. Let's leave it at that.
Basically,
yeah, he did it. Let's leave it at that. Very bad Alfred. Anyway, so.
No, but I like the whole Joseph Gordon-Levitt becoming the new Batman.
Becoming Robin.
Oh my god, don't remind me of that.
What I didn't like of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character is that he goes to the house and he says that, I know who you are because you are effectively like me. You are an orphan trying to hide your anger. I listened to that entire speech and I'm like, okay, I get it. How does that prove that he's Batman though?
I know. It felt very. I was like, okay, but then it makes sense, no, Amartya, because he's Robin.
No, it doesn't make
उसको
sense.
पता ही होगा.
I was like, that reveal is so. I was like, my God, क्या है ये?
But it has been foreshadowed since the beginning also because.
अरे तो फिर foreshadowing रखो ना. Robin क्यों बोलना है उसको?
Yeah. No. This is like very nerdy. Okay, I'm just putting.
हाँ, you explain this. Your fandom.
This is very nerdy. Okay, it's like I can't believe I'm thinking about it, but it's like you see every time he's wearing an overcoat. He's always wearing a blue sweater, right? Every time he's wearing a blue sweater, and the blue sweater is always V-necked.
That's a Robin sign.
That's a Nightwing sign.
Okay.
The V-neck is the Nightwing sign. So Nightwing is basically the first Robin, right? Dick Grayson, the first Robin, who actually grows up and some call him in the DC universe as Batman's only success story. Because Dick Grayson is the only Robin who actually grows up. He has an argument with Batman. He goes up, he moves to another separate city, and he becomes an effective crime fighter on his own.
Okay.
And some say that he is much better at navigating the DC universe and having relationships than his own mentor.
I mean, he is positioned as that, na? Because this is the whole class thing also comes in, but he is not the billionaire. He's
not the billionaire. Yeah.
He's the orphan.
Yeah.
He's the orphan. Yeah. So also, it's all the Dick Grayson thing and everything like that. So
I like how because now Amartya has explained it. Imagine if because to foreshadow कि ये Robin है, he was just wearing like a red everything full time.
No, but that's the thing of the blue thing, na?
Red in a Nolan film.
Yeah, exactly.
Sir. यहाँ पे सिर्फ steel gray, black, whites.
Which works in
I like the color palette in these films. In these two,
Dark Knight.
I like it. I like the Rises palette also.
Rises again back. It's a bit. It's going to the. It's
gray. I think it's
no. So both Dunkirk and Dark Knight are very serious films.
Yeah.
But they are also very vivid in their color.
Yeah.
Like you look at the crisp blue of the ocean in Dunkirk.
Yeah. Dunkirk
I think in that sense, Rises and Tenet are similar. They just go the dull route of the color palette.
Maybe they are all alienated.
But Tenet shouldn't have been like that, right? Because
it shouldn't. No.
Okay. No Tenet right now. Later.
The tenets of the discussion were no Tenet.
Yes. Tenets of the discussion were no Tenet.
Next discussion.
Yeah, I think the one other thing I just realized is that this is hilarious though, and this is also like
this is the last point also because we ended.
Yeah, this is the last point. Him referencing a Batman myth is like, okay, he's flying away, in a bat plane with a bomb strapped on his, with a bomb strapped in his plane and everything, and he's flying over the ocean. Have you guys seen the meme of Batman running with a bomb? Batman 66 Adam West Batman running with a bomb everywhere,
Nope.
Everything, and then he gets on a helicopter and he's running with a bomb on his head and everything.
No.
I am sure Nolan was referencing that.
Memes back in 2012.
No, not the meme. That sequence. That is from the 1966 Batman movie, which starred Adam West.
Yeah.
That was a comic sequence, but that is a very famous
sequence. He won't be referencing a comic sequence in the finale of the
No, he did.
Why not?
Check that out. He did. That is his reference.
In the moment where the bomb is blowing up.
Yeah, because that was also the climax sequence, right? He's running around the entire city with a bomb on his head. Okay.
Amartya, have you seen the music that's playing in that sequence in Dark Knight Rises?
But that's homage, no?
I know.
Otherwise, plagiarism.
I know. It's a plagiarism because.
What do you just mean like a badly directed sequence where some other music is playing?
It's a good bit of homage, I think, that way.
It's a good bit of homage also, yeah.
It's just to make it feel silly.
Yeah. That is silly.
At the moment where you want the audience to cry.
How did Batman survive?
Ejector
seat, bail out.
6 mile directly.
No,
पानी में चला गया.
No, he used the autopilot, right? He had the autopilot. So by the time
time नहीं था ना बट अमर्त्य.
Time क्यों नहीं था? 5 minutes.
Nobody saw him leave
5
the
seconds
aircraft.
tha na?
No, minutes. It was minutes. It was not seconds.
Minutes tha? Oh.
हाँ.
Seconds में कुछ नहीं कर पाता वो.
Seconds में कुछ नहीं कर पाता. पागल है क्या?
He would have been like stuck at Gotham Bridge. कि कितना traffic है यहाँ पे.
So on that note, should we end? Our bridges have been burnt.
Yes.
Completely.
With Batman. Anything more, guys, on Batman? Hans Zimmer, we've not talked much about, I guess.
Yeah.
Score सुन लो.
I think
scores.
I think the Dark. I think more than Hans Zimmer, the James Newton Howard, because all of the emotional sequence in the Dark Knight, I think, were done by James Newton Howard, because Newton Howard is very good in the softer sequences.
I think Junkie XL was in Dark Knight Rises.
No, Dark Knight Rises was Hans Zimmer.
Only Hans Zimmer.
Only Hans Zimmer.
Okay.
Junkie XL was in
BVS. Mad Max, no? Fury Road.
BVS.
No, I think Hans Zimmer in...
Okay.
Yeah, BVS.
Okay. मैं कहीं और ही चले गया.
That is why उसका Batman का theme is like bomb. Only that.
यहाँ पे भी कोई मिल गया.
Yes. That is exactly that only.
Don't remind me, please.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think this is we end on Koi Mil Gaya of all things.
All things.
Yeah. But no, thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I think we covered a lot of ground with regards to Batman and how sort of Nolan's films can sort of make use of that template in some ways, sometimes succumb to like the whole mainstream blockbuster template in ways that isn't productive. And I guess for all of us, I think The Dark Knight kind of is a perfect synthesis of his sensibilities with the blockbuster model. And I think I guess I'm guessing it's probably one of your favorites of all of Nolan films, right? Amartya, you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one is Dark Knight, two is Memento, and I think it's always interchangeable.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, from my means.
Okay.
Dark Knight and Dunkirk are tied on first for me.
Okay, interesting. I think for me, Memento and I'm hoping Inception holds up, but let's see. Dunkirk also I really love. So
Dunkirk I loved, yeah, but
even Dark Knight is probably like again after those three, which I think are like really, really insane. Yeah, Interstellar I have issues with the dialogue. But anyways, our next selections for part 3 before we finally reach World War II period, which is where we are leading up to in some senses with our episodes. The next one is 3 science fiction films from Nolan, like outright science fiction, right? I feel
not so much prestige.
Is it? It
bit
probably does have, right? Okay,
prestige is like steampunk also kind of in a way.
And Dhoom 3, so yes. Yeah. So you guys included enough, huh? Like Pele, so it's okay. The Prestige, Inception, and Interstellar, and a dose of Tenet, because how can we not?
How can we not?
Yeah.
Special appearance.
We really need to.
I love the fact how Tenet is distributed in all the episodes.
Yes.
Like even after Oppenheimer releases,
I like it more. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Excluded.
I think I'm hating on the movie the more I think about it. Especially
no. I think it's better. Like the less you think, it's the whole. I mean, you can't
listen. That's
you can't do that.
Logic. That's a
yes. You
logic.
Can't do that in a movie like Tenet, I think. But whatever. On the next episode, hopefully only for 10 minutes, because we want to focus on the other 3 which we like much more. To varying degrees. Let us know what you thought of this episode. Please let us know if there are other filmmakers you want us to cover. Maybe not this extensively, because this requires a fairly challenging amount of movie consumption, at least on my end and Amartya's end. Because we rewatch everything. We are rewatching everything, and we are a bit mad, I think, for doing so.
And this month has been especially taxing for me overall.
Yeah. So follow all of us on different socials, which will be there in the description. I won't say that too much in like each episode, because I know it's already covered in the first part. But yes, we look forward to your thoughts, and khatam.